Welcome to the Cameroon Dream. This may be a book launch, but within a greater perspective, it's a vision of how one man can predict the future. Vision, curiosity, action oriented items that can forever bring peace, unity, freedom, and prosperity for our motherland, Cameroon. Welcome to Roland Fru's book launch. I want to salute all of you watching from every part of the world and to our distinguished panelists who have given up the time to make sure that this dream is a reality. We say thank you. To our sponsor, Nala Money Transfer, we say thank you for your support. More often, we are handed responsibilities on how we could reshape the future of a nation. The point is not about the responsibility given to us. It's about how we craft that responsibility within the social, economic, and political fabric of that country to make sure that even those who are the least connected can feel empowered and be part of that trajectory. At this point, I would like to bring to you someone, a pragmatic individual, someone whom I respect so much, someone who has done so much within the confines of the United States of America, who would start by delivering his keynote address. But before he delivers a keynote address, I would like to give you just some synopsis of why we're here and about this book, The Cameroon Dream. Thank you. At this point, let me invite our keynote speaker, Mr. Joy Batista, who will deliver us our keynote address. So it is good for us to have a perspective about this book, The Cameroon Dream, as we move on today. I'm going to try and read some synopsis of the foreword of this book, written by one of Cameroon's finest historians, a Fulbright scholar in the person of Professor Julius Ngor. When I read that preface, I thought it would be worth reading it, at least a synopsis for an audience to know exactly what we're talking about. This is what Professor Julius says. The crisis conflict in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon is fast becoming an ignored humanitarian disaster. This is in spite of its toll on the human and socio-economic fabric of the nation. It is uncommon to see a Cameroonian analyze the crisis with so much ease, flair, and dispassionate manner as the author has exhibited. The author, with a strong Christian background, joins a handful of Cameroonians who have boldly challenged the space of misinformation and disinformation which has fueled the crisis. I'm reading the foreword to this book, The Cameroon Dream, written by one of Africa's finest historians, Professor Julius Ngor. And please, whenever Mr. Joy Batista is ready, let me know so I can bring him in for the keynote address. I continue with the foreword of the book, The Cameroon Dream. In a very engaging conversational style, the author, here referred to as Reverend Roland Fru, The author demonstrates his mastery of the historical sociological composition of the Cameroonian political landscape. Despite the fact that some members of his family or friends have either been assassinated or adopted by Ambazonian fighters for ransom, he has successfully approached the subject based on his experience and research, while drawing inspiration from conflicts in the USA, Europe, and Africa. The author urgently calls for its study devoid of emotion. This is largely because of devastating human, social, and economic cost in a country which is in dire need of political stability and unity for its holistic development. We are talking about the Cameroon Dream, and we are talking about the forward from one of Africa's finest historians, Professor Julius Ngor. I continue. In analyzing the Anglophone crisis, the author examines the general causes as well as the ways and means of what it would take to revolve it. This book is divided into two parts. Part one discusses the crisis with the July 1961 Fumban conference and subsequent meetings in the background, and calls on Anglophones to re-examine the causes of their marginalization. He brilliantly weaves the philosophies of Thomas Hobbes in Leviathan, John Locke in two treatises of government, Hobbes in Leviathan, and Jacques Rousseau in The Social Contract, to explain the crisis in Cameroon in particular and in Cameroon in general. This is a great forward, and please, as I'm reading this forward, we're here for the book launch. Please, I want to appreciate the audience, and I would want to call on the audience. If you have an opportunity, you can go online and order this book. It is www.csdphope.org. That's where you can get a copy of the book. csdp.org. You can get a copy of that book, and also on Amazon. So I can see our keynote speaker, Mr. Joy Batista, is with us. So, ladies and gentlemen, without much ado, I'm going to introduce to you one of America's finest entrepreneurs, somebody who has transformed lives for over 30 years, somebody who has what it takes to inspire, somebody who has what it takes to level mountains into valleys. It is not by luck that we have him here. It is a great privilege. Please help me welcome our keynote speaker, Mr. Joy Batista, for the book launch. Mr. Joy, thank you so much.
The reality is you have that. You have that. These conditions that people have been exposed to and people have been victimized of, the hardships and the tragedy and everything. You have the DNA. You have what it takes in order to go all the way and make the changes. The question is, do you have the right mindset, right? And you're really going to have to open up your mind, because there's going to be a transition phase. There's going to be a transition where you have to go and step back. Remember, what gets you here will not get you there, right? And in order to do it, it's going to take every man, woman, and child humanly possible available to help you accomplish it. It's going to be a consistent activity of every day, all day, without fail, without exception, looking for allies, and then being able to execute. But it's not going to be without more hardship, and it's not going to be without more tragedy. It's not going to be without more loss. It's not going to be without more setbacks, right? And maybe not to some magnitudes, but then maybe more to others. See, a lot of people, it's a lot easier to give up the physical than the mental. And this is a mental game right now. This is truly a mental game you're up against, because sure, you can take the physical trauma, the abuse, the beatings, everything. But can you go ahead and transition from that and take an enlightened approach? An approach that some of you right now, imagine this, and I commend you all for I commend all of you, especially the people of the great nation of Cameroon. And I tell you why. Because some of you right now are going to fight for a dream. You're going to put your heart and soul in it. And you're going to do every single thing that you can do only for your children to see it come to life. Imagine that. You're going to do all your efforts, your entire life, and you're never going to see it. Well, this is what I would challenge myself to and all of you. I would challenge you that anyone, whether it's young or old, anyone who's willing to go at something that hard and that long, that's a noble, worthy mission. And that's a mission that's definitely worth support. Now, here's the thing. How do you access the talent? How do you access the people who are actually going to rebuild this country and participate in perhaps one of the greatest economies it's ever seen since its inception in the history of civilization, right? You're going to have leadership that can communicate and collaborate and find women that can actually go out and do it. So my question would be to all of you today is, how many of you have a calling? How many of you not only audit your skill set that you bring, right? Also work on your skill set that you bring, and then bring an open mind and an open heart in order to be able to execute upon it. Because it is going to take every single person humanly possible to achieve it. And imagine that. I mean, and this is why we talk about the mindset. You have to be fully equipped and fully understand that you may never actually see it, but know in your heart that the next generation will. Imagine that. You know, you have to really think about that as you go in there, because we hop on these calls and awareness is there. And very transparently, I wasn't super familiar with the whole scenario until Roland reached out to me and started explaining it to me. And I took interest in his work. And I saw the noble, worthy mission that he did. And you see things like this, and you realize, you're like, how can this happen? How can people go through this? But you know what? It doesn't matter where we're at. It matters where we're going, right? It doesn't matter what happened. Our trauma, our setbacks, our losses will not define us yet. They will set the tone. They will set the pace for where we're going to go, right? And the thing is, when you're going through to this, it's nothing casual. You're going to have to be ridiculous committed to learning to collaborate and work together. You know, it's very hard when people go, when I was in business and I made my first money, what gets you to the table is the fight, right? That's what gets you to the table is the fight. But when you really start having a lot of success, those people that you're fighting with are now your allies. They now have the vital resources, the vital connections that you need to make your dream a reality. So I say that because it's most people will tire out and they will give up if they don't have the right mindset going in. Then you have to ask yourself, who can help you in your journey? And what skills will you need to get there? Right? So one of the biggest things that I learned is that to get everyone to participate, right? You have to get, and when I say get everyone to participate, for those of you that are in leadership roles, which is all of us in some capacity, remember something. When you're called upon to do the work of leadership, it's one simple thing that makes a difference. It's one random good deed that makes a difference, right? It's one specific little thing that you can do when no one else is looking. See, we're all pointing fingers and we're looking at other people and we're blaming it on the leadership. But the reality is, at what point in time have we accepted personal accountability for ourselves and decided that we were going to be the change that we wish to see, right? And it's very, very difficult to do in many circumstances, right? So the thing would be for me is, how do you go out and establish leadership within your, remember something, if there's change that we wish to see within government or within nation, if we don't see it within our own households, within our own communities, the places where we go, have cookouts or celebrate or go to the grocery store, wherever we are in our own communities, how can we expect that of someone else? See, we must become the change that we want to see. And when you consistently do that long enough, it happens. There's when you set out down a path, you have to know that without, I always have a saying. I was talking earlier today to someone, and I said, in a test of wills, I will win, right? And the thing is, there's no doubt the will of this nation, right? There's no doubt of the will of Roland, right? And I think the biggest thing, what they're saying is, I think the easiest thing that all of us can do, and obviously, I'm going to go ahead and be the first one too, because I wish to see this change. So I want to lead by example, right? I want to go ahead and make a positive impact and contribution to society. So the thing is, what do? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go buy, 50 of these books from Roland for my team so that we can educate them here. So for all of you that are on this call, and this isn't me pitching, I'm giving you a small actionable step. And Roland didn't tell me to say this, but I'm giving you a small actionable step that you can take, right? It's a very, very small actionable step, right? You go ahead, you buy 50 books, you buy 10 books, you buy 5, you buy 2, you buy 1, right? But you go ahead and you buy a book because you take the time to educate yourself. And this is really and truly where you can rally behind it. I think that when people are faced in any of these situations, it's a consistently, I read a thing one time about revolutions, okay? And what I read about the revolution is they were saying how they took place and how the people who organized these revolutions over time, exactly how they did it. And the revolutions would always start out something like this. They go ahead and they rally the people, right? Here we are today, right? And it's not revolution when you want change. I'm just using the revolution example. When they go ahead, you rally the people first. Now you bring the people together. And first it would be one small change. And the small change would be is they would have them all go around town and drive at 5 o'clock and everybody go 10 miles an hour, right? They would literally slow it down, the most passive thing, but slowly over a period of time, over 20 or 30 years, they would make the change they wanted to see. Now, as crazy as it would sound, right? We just do the complete opposite. We just go to the positive for whatever it would be, whatever we may want to do. So I think that today, if I was to go in there and I want to bring it out, I want to talk about the leadership. How are you going to communicate? How are you going to have the frameworks in place to access the talent of the men and women that are going to be needed to get there? So I think every single community, every single family is going to have to first share what it is, share the dream. Then they're going to have to find the people who will help them get there. And then they will have to go ahead and be open to it and see what skills required and give them the frameworks in order to get there. So today, as we finish up the day and we go through everything, the big thing that I want all of you to do is there's going to be myself, there'll be other speakers, and a lot of times you're processing and you're hearing things in a sounding board. It's not anything necessarily magical that you will hear differently, but rather the reflection thereof. So I would tell every single person today to have a pen and paper in your hand, right? And you're going to have to realize and make a commitment to what your role and how this is going to affect you and what it's going to do. And the way that you honor that commitment is what sacrifice are you going to be willing to make? Okay, because sacrifice is the payment that we make to honor our commitments. When we show up with a commitment and there is no sacrifice, those commitments never get fulfilled. And it's not saying that there hasn't been a lot of sacrifice in different cases, but there's always some sacrifice to everything when we want to achieve the impossible. A breakthrough, right? As Tony Robbins would say, a breakthrough is when the impossible becomes possible. right? That's what we're talking about here right now. We're talking about doing the impossible, right? And we're chasing a breakthrough, right? That's what the mission that Roland's sharing. He's sharing a breakthrough. How do we go ahead and break through and create an economy and create a situation that just makes all of this, I wouldn't say worthwhile, but at least to make some sense of it. So in any event, I say that too. I'll go ahead and that's, today, ladies and gentlemen, what I want to challenge each and every one of you with is some personal, what is your role? What is it that you're looking to do? Right? And to tell you that you're good enough, you need to allow this to happen. You can achieve any single thing in your life that you want, but not if what goes in up here is wrong, right? You have to tell yourself, I'm good enough. I deserve this. I will allow this to happen, right? Most people cannot achieve what they want to achieve in life because they don't believe that they're worthy enough or good enough. They won't say it. They will say otherwise, but all of their behavior will dictate that they feel unworthy. So I would write down what it is you're willing to sacrifice, and I would write something ridiculous that you want to achieve. And one of the things that you achieve in doing this, what do you want out of your own personal life? What would that win look like for you? Right? What would that look like for you? And that's really and truly what you have to look at, So that being said, I want to leave you with this. I want to tell you that you have to really and truly, I want you to say, I'm good enough. I deserve this. I will allow it to happen. Commit to action. Write down what it is your contribution and it's going to be. And that's it. Either which way, I thank you guys for your time and thank you for being a part of this today. You got to let go of it. One of the things, and this is really important, I want to share this with everybody. This is so, and we'll have a more casual conversation. And I like this because I think this is very good information. So my first thing is I would tell everybody to pay close attention. I've been coaching people for 30 years and obviously I'm in business, but it's always personal. It's about it starts out about the money, but it always comes down to what has their family done for the last 100, 200, 300 years, the environmental conditions, there's no generational curses. I want to first tell you this. People are going to say you have generational curses. No, there's generational thinking and there's generational ways, right? And you can change that thinking right now, right? And that's really what you're commenting on is absolutely, you cannot let what has happened define you, but it has to be ultimately what drives you to do ridiculously insane committed things, because we're going to have to all work for our children, right? So for me, I've been blessed. I've been blessed through, I did a lot of hard work, but financially I'm good. Everything I work for now is to be the example for my family and for legacy and for impact. That's it. I'll take the money too, but my point is you're going to have to realize, especially for a lot of you that are grandparents, or a lot of you that are mothers or fathers, right, or soon to be grandfathers, is the example that you can create and how you handle this tragedy and this setback. See, maybe you won't do nothing. Maybe you won't be able to move $1, but you'll be able to move all the mountains in the world.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing to have you. We are tuned live to the book launch, The Cameroon Dream, by Reverend Roland Fru, a masterpiece, a visionary who have defied all odds to stand in the midst of every setback to say, we must move ahead and we must win together. We need partnership, we need collaboration, but first, we need to learn. It's a singular experience that we should all appreciate, because people like this, they are rare, and when they speak, their speech is rare, but pregnant with wisdom. So please, Professor Julius Ngo actually wrote a foreword to the Cameroon Dream, the book. He wrote the foreword, and I started reading some excerpts of it. Very, very engaging. So please, let me welcome Professor Julian Ngo. We're just going to have a one-on-one with him so he can share more historical perspective on what is it, that we are dreaming for the nation of Cameroon.
They say money is the root of all evil. But what I have witnessed in Cameroon for the past 7 to 8 years: heads slashed, hands maimed, kidnapped for ransom, people even buried alive. Words can't describe the inhumane cruelty that has taken place in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. With that, I say, poverty is the root of all evil.
Thank you, Reverend Fru, Roland. Thank you, Madam Fru. You guys are a wonderful asset to Cameroon.
A country with a population of approximately 29 million people, 60% below the age of 25, thousands internally and externally displaced, some in jail. The time for change is now.
And I count myself lucky to have come in contact with such a great man with a love for his nation.
Uniting Cameroon through peace, education, and entrepreneurship is the key to ending the conflict, reducing poverty, and achieving sustainable prosperity. This is only attainable through the Cameroon Sustainable Development Project, CSDP.
Once I came, I already gotten my training in the real estate and construction. As we speak, I already started a company in the real estate and construction department.
We have lost more than 40,000 people, properties and villages destroyed. We believe more in natural resources than human resources. Let me ask you a question. If I were to give you $1 billion today, on one condition, that you will die tomorrow, will you choose the $1 billion or will you choose life? If you choose life, that indicates that life is more important than the money. Life is more important than the resources.
Yeah, all thanks to Roland Fru and the CSDP. They brought experts here from the United States and they can make on regular basis and train us. Yeah, so just within few months, yeah, I'm the CEO of a real estate and construction company. Yeah, so we need to be say open. We need to be attentive. That's it. So we come with an open mind. It must be a beneficiary.
We believe that great people make a great nation. We stand for peace, unity, freedom, and prosperity for all Cameroonians.
Through CSDP, I have learned that an asset brings in money into your pocket, while a liability takes out money from your pocket. Manage businesses. I want to know how businesses are even set up. So that's one of the things that I've learned through CSDP. Another thing that I've learned through CSDP is what matters is not how much somebody earns, but how much somebody keeps.
I've learned that at my very little corner, the little potentials that I have, I just need to maximize it. I don't need to minimize it. I need to maximize it, and it is going to go a long way to bring out something which could even be hiding in me, and it will go a long way to help 1 or 2 persons that will carry our nation forward.
Il a eu beaucoup plus cette idée quand il a parlé au révérend. Le révérend avait demandé qu'est-ce que tu fais comme business. Il a cité beaucoup de choses et le révérend lui fait connaître qu'il devait se focaliser. C'est à partir de ce moment qu'il s'est focalisé sur l'immobilier et la construction, ce qu'il fait présentement, et il est fier de nous annoncer aussi que en faisant cela, juste dans quelques mois, il a déjà eu des contrats. Il a déjà eu les contrats exécutés. Donc,
our mission is to train 3,000 Cameroonians in the 7 industries that are transforming the global economy. These leaders and entrepreneurs will go on to start businesses that will employ fellow Cameroonians, hence eradicating poverty from our nation. With this initiative, we will move the nation's GDP to approximately $1 trillion in the next 20 years.
I remember when I had the interview with Reverend Fru, and I asked him a lot of questions about the project, and really he gave me reassuring answers. One of the questions I asked him was, what if the project fails? Like, how is he going to behave and how is he going to behave? And I was motivated from the responses he gave, and really I knew from there that CSDP is here to stay, and it is the dream organization Cameroonians have been looking for.
I want to thank Reverend Fru for this opportunity that he has given us to learn, to change our mindsets, that may God continue to give him strength and wisdom to do more things.
Change is coming to Cameroon.
I equally learned how to manage my environment and to know the kind of people that I associate with, and it has equally helped me to build self-confidence. It has really helped me. I am here today to share my testimony so far on what I have learned in the Nation Builder University and what I have equally learned from Roland Fru in the CSGP. So far, I want to say that the Nation Builder University has been a great help to me, and it has contributed so much in my life, in my career, and I want to thank our founder, this movement, Roland Fru. I can say it is a privilege that I am among this great organization. And so far with the meetings that I have been attending with Reverend Fru, I have learned a lot from this great man. What inspired me so much about Reverend Fru is that he's a man that loves his nation. He's a man that does not only talk, but is a man of action. And that is the greatest part that has inspired me so much to put in action in whatever thing that I am doing. So I am grateful, and I believe I'll keep learning for the greater good of our nation, Cameroon.
In the Bible says, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. So the greatest investment in life is investing in the mind. So investing in the mind, you need to keep educating yourself. A nation building university, it's a place, it's an avenue, it creates an avenue for us, for people who are willing to invest in their mind. And Nation Builder University has put in place resources that can facilitate, that can ease, that can accompany, that can help us to build the mindset, to build our mindset, so we're able to stand in the society, to be able to.
Nation Builders University is that platform where the training will begin. Yeah, and I've already begun. And you can see we already have close to 200 registered students in the university who are going across their studies. So that's why the study is very important, because it begins with a change of mindset. You see, all the courses, they are well chosen. They are chronologically aligned, because without a change of mindset, because we have really come through our economy, we have gone through quite a lot. Yes, and our minds have been corrupted. Yeah, we have a lot of obsolete or redundant ideas, making it difficult for us to be receptive to change or any new ideas. So we need, first of all, a mind renewal. It should be a paradigm shift to our mind before now we can now receive change.
The question is, do you believe you have a role to play to bring about this change? If your answer is yes, click the link below to join the movement.
You can buy the book, The Cameroon Dream, to learn more about how we can make Cameroon a better place. You can also help by donating here, csdphope.org/donate.
He describes this as the Cameroon Sustainable Development Project advocating for peace, unity, freedom, and prosperity for all Cameroonians. At this point, I will be bringing in Reverend Roland Fru to officially launch this much anticipated book that is versed with so much clarity, lack of emotions, and how we can truly move forward as a nation. Mr. Roland, if you're with us, please, the mic is yours. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Franco, I'm super excited. Fellow Cameroonians, both home and abroad. I've been waiting for this day for the past 7 to 8 years. This is a very special day for me. I want to start by saying human life is sacred and it must be preserved. For most of you who don't know me, it is very important that I introduce myself. I was born and raised in the northwest region of Cameroon. I have been experiencing deep grief in my heart because of what is happening in our country. I think the pain that each and every Cameroonian feels in their heart at this moment, I share your grievances. The question is, why did you write a book? And I think that is what most Cameroonians are asking today. And the book is titled The Cameroon Dream. While I was in school, I was asked to write a paper on corporate social responsibility. I didn't find sufficient data to write about that paper from Cameroon, so I looked into Nigeria. I discovered that the Niger Delta oil crisis has been an issue that has been plaguing Nigeria since 1966. Why is this story important? I realized that the people, in spite of the resources that they have, are struggling in their own nation. And this got me thinking about my own nation. Because I would have thought it was discrimination because I am an Anglophone. I started researching and I'm realizing that most African countries have been struggling post-independence. I looked at the demography of our nation, realizing that 75% of Cameroonians are below the age of 40. 60% are below the age of 25. Only 3.5% are above the age of 65. It got me thinking. And I put out this data and many Cameroonians started reaching out to me. Like, this is staggering. They never knew this. So after that, my father-in-law was kidnapped. It was a cold winter morning and I was going about my day. All of a sudden, I received a call from my wife. And I want you to picture this with me. Because I want you to get into my shoes to imagine how I felt. When the call came in, my wife was in tears. She said, Dad has been kidnapped. Now, prior to that, I had read a book written by Chris Voss, a former FBI hostage negotiator, titled Never Split the Difference. And that hostage negotiator actually helps people in kidnapped situations. So the first thing was to mobilize the family together. And this is the blueprint that we will apply to transform this nation. So I want you to pay attention, please. We mobilized the family together. We contacted some mentors to seek advice, both back home and abroad. How do we handle this situation? And what they told us was, you can give all the money in the world and yet your father-in-law will be killed. And I want to ask you, what will you do in such a situation? That money cannot solve the problem. This requires strategic thinking and strategic planning. So the entire family came together, number one. Number two, we said only one person will communicate with the kidnappers. And through that process, we were able to build relationships with the kidnappers and get to hear their story. As we heard this young man speak, they were grieving. Why? Because they don't have equal opportunities in the country. Why? Because they don't have access to education. Why? Because they don't have the capital to start a business. So this book is inspired by the grievances of Cameroonians, documented to provide a solution and a way forward. And we've heard Mr. Joey Batista speak, and he has talked extensively on how you cannot move forward by dwelling on the past. So the long story short, it is the grace of God that my father-in-law was able to make it out of the hands of the kidnappers. He was there for more than a month, and we were talking to these people almost every day. And they would call sometimes at the middle of the night demanding money. We went on and on and on with it, but thank God he made it alive. So what is the lesson from this story? That when you are in a crisis like the one we find ourselves in, the first thing is to get education, and that is why we wrote a book. I had read a book. Number two, we have to come together as one. Number three, we made sure that only one person from the family who was smart enough and we trusted her will be communicating with the kidnappers. So there was no divide of information. We could control the information. When we look at our nation today, brothers and sisters, we have all it takes to succeed in Cameroon. I want to say this as clear as possible. We have all that it takes to make Cameroon a great nation. But we will have to study. We will have to collaborate. We will have to speak as one voice, and we will have to trust God. So, why the Cameroon Dream? I've been so blessed to live in this wonderful nation, America. I often say I was born in Cameroon, I was made in Texas. It's for a reason. I've studied the history of this nation, and what they are going through is what we are going through is what they went through. There was a time America wanted to divide, right? The North and the South states, they wanted to divide. But in spite of their differences, they figured out a way to come together. America fought a civil war. And after the end of that civil war in 1865, Abraham Lincoln, the president of America, was assassinated. But something happened after that. New breed of leaders emerged in this nation. Those leaders were not politicians. Those leaders were businessmen. The Cornelius Vanderbilt, John D. Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford. These individuals single-handedly, with the cooperation of the entire nation, changed America within a 50 years period. What you call the American dream today, this foundation was laid by this great man. So friends, we can talk about the problem, but I'm more interested in the solution. The Cameroon Dream book talks about the problem because we cannot ignore the problem. But most importantly, the solution to the future of this nation is carefully laid down in these pages. When you want to travel or you want to get to a destination, it is important to choose your vehicle. When I was running a restaurant in Cameroon, I put a team of workers together one day and I asked them, if you want to get to your destination and you have a bicycle, you have a car, you have a train, and you have a plane, which of these vehicles are you going to use to get to your destination? Some people say they wanted a car. The goal is that you get there fast. Some people said they wanted a car. Some said they wanted a train that is comfortable in the train. Some said they will go in a plane. And I want to ask you a question. Who do you think you will want on your team? I will want those who want to go with a plane. 66 years is gone. Right now, we need a vehicle that would take us to our destination really fast. How can we transform the economy of Cameroon in the next 20 years? We will need a plane. And that plane is the organization that we started called CSDP. And this book is the foundation to this movement. 90% of the jobs in America is created in the private sector, not government. And this got me thinking that we can cooperatively transform our nation in the private sector by modeling what works. America has achieved the highest standard of human excellence in the 7 industries we've carefully selected, which is that plane for us to transform our economy over the next 20 years. China's GDP was approximately 390 billion US dollars in 1990. China modeled America for over 30 plus years and transformed their entire economy. So this is the time for us to model what works. Set aside our own opinions. Unite as one. What is more important is that we have a conducive environment for every Cameroonian. So on that note, I would like to have the MC grab back the microphone. If there's any further questions, we are going to proceed with that. But in a nutshell, that is what the Cameroon Dream is all about. It's about those who want to dream big, those who are tired of depending on the government, those who've died even in the Sahara Desert traveling abroad for greener pastures, that there is something for you in this great nation. And we can be able to unite and make that dream become a reality in this generation. I call this the no excuse generation. I'm so passionate about this, but I want to say that this is the time that we will not look left or right. We will not wait for government to come save us. We are not going to wait for foreign aid. There was a saying that if need was seed, the entire Africa will be green. So we are changing that narrative in this dispensation. We will cooperate with those who mean well for us. And we have some amazing speakers line up. And these are people who have achieved amazing things for their lives. And they are going to share with us how they got there And what are we going to do? We are going to model. We are going to be coachable. We are going to learn. We are going to set aside our egos. I'm willing to learn. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to carry your back? I'll carry your back. If you would teach me something that would take me out of my condition. Oh, I'm already preaching. I know, my background is in ministry, so I'm already worked up. But I just want to let you know, brothers and sisters, there's a lot to say. There's a lot I'm processing. I'm going left and right. I'm looking at the slides. I'm looking at you. What can I tell you? I just want to let you know I believe in us. I believe in you. I believe in your dreams. I believe in your children. I believe in your husbands, your wives. I believe in us. And I know this is our time to make a mark on the universe. Steve Jobs says everything you call life around you was created by people who are no smarter than you. You can make your own things and have people use them. You can build your own business. You can start something. You can shape the world and have other people benefit from your creativity. That is what the Cameroon dream is. That even if I don't have money, if I just have a high school diploma and I don't get a baby before I get married, and I focus on one of these industries, I can be able to have my own house, my own car in this nation. Ma'am, give me that board. Please. I will want you to carry out an exercise with me and do this with me. I have a vision board right here. And if you look at this vision board, it's what I see for my own life. It's what I see for our nation. Sometimes I remember growing up, we used to have posters of maybe Tupac in our rooms. I remember those days, Lee Bauer, we used to have their posters in our room. Those posters remind you of what you could be. It's inspiration. But today, as you look at this vision board, you will see right here, this is the city that I see. This is the Cameroon that I see. Can you see me? Can you see the flyer? Can you see this? Is everybody seeing this? I want to make sure we are clear. So I've got a vision board. I want every Cameroonian. This is the city. This is the country that I see by 2044. This is the nation that I see. I have put it on paper, crafted an image, have AI generated, and I have it right here on my vision board. And I'm looking at this every morning. I said, the devil is a liar. This country is going to be a beacon of hope in this continent. And I want you to look at this flyer. We will share the slides with you. And you choose your own story building here and your own car. And you print it and put it in your room. When you wake up in the morning and they tell you that you are a failure, you look at that flyer, you look at that poster, and you say to yourself, it is a lie. The government cannot define me. My parents cannot define me. My community cannot define me. Nothing can define you. Your color of your skin cannot define you. You have something to offer in this world. You are not a biological mistake. You were created for purpose. You were created to do something amazing. It's not just about money. It's not about the money, because all the time we talk about the money. It's not about the money. It's about freedom. It's about making the world a better place. It's about impacting the lives of others. It's about providing for your children and your wives and providing for the people that you care about. That is what this dream is all about. As you grab this copy of this book, I want the spirit to sink in you. I want you to harbor this energy that I'm believing in this dream. I'm taking this book as something, as a compass to change my own life.
Reverend Fru, what I want people to take out of this message you've dropped here today, I think Mr. Joy Batistuta had echoed that. It's not about what happens to you. It's how we reframe the narrative about what happens to us. You coming from a background where your father-in-law was actually kidnapped, your family was in crisis, but you went beyond the act. You went down to the roots to try to find out, but what could have fueled such an act? And it is clear that the lack of opportunities is the beginning of disorganization. and you have come out with this, what we call the Cameroon Dream, the Cameroon Sustainable Development Project. And you're talking about training about how many? You say 3,000 Cameroonians
3,000 Cameroonians
in the 7 pivotal industries. Those industries, you say, are number 1, agriculture, technology, health, financial services, renewable energy, real estate and construction, media and entertainment. Wonderful. So, how do you have the right partnerships and collaboration that will help us realize this dream? How on your vision board, what are your action items, if I may ask, just a little, please?
Yes. So the first step towards achieving this goal is mobilizing. So we've tested the model already. If you watch the testimonial videos, there is a term in finance we call minimum viable product,
Good.
MVP.
Good.
So in order to succeed in business or whatever that is in life, you need a minimum viable product. So we have created the organization CSDP. We have Nation Builders University, that is our educational arm. We have the Cameroon Times, that is our newspaper, to create, to generate information that is very instrumental for the development of these industries. And then we have Guarantee Magnet, that is a strategic marketing company that will help individuals in Cameroon to grow and scale their businesses. So these are some of the pillars that we have set in place. We have Cameroonians back home already working with us, and some of them are serving in this industry, in this department already.
Good.
Now, when I'm talking about the minimum viable product.
So if I'm correct,
yes, sir.
we already have success stories within these 7 industries which are acting as a blueprint for the success of this project. Am I correct?
Yes. We have success stories.
Good.
Yes, we have a gentleman who came in here. There are many others, but his story stands out to me. Number 1, when he came, he was coachable. He was willing to set aside, even though he was attacking me on Facebook at first when I said it is possible to make it in Cameroon. That is one thing that is fascinating about this story. I say it is possible for you to make it in this nation. He was attacking me on Facebook, came close, joined Nation Builders University. He was the first person to go through all of the courses at Nation Builders University.
Wonderful.
And then he said, I have 500,000. I want to get into real estate.
Wonderful.
What should I do? I said, you don't even need any money to start this business. And we sat down and talked about it. Through that mentorship, we had some people who are already making it big in real estate here come talk to us. And through that and the inspiration and strategy that I gave him, he went out there, started a business. He has a multi-million, not dollar, a multi-million francs real estate company as we speak right now, within 6 months of joining Nation Builders University. And not only that, he has employed approximately 3 people from this organization, and they are working with him. They had skills, they had talent. Some of them were developers. Now they are working with him, and they are going on to do great things.
Wonderful.
So that was proof to me because we were testing the model.
Okay.
And we realized that through that is the minimum viable product, that it works. And distance is not a barrier for us to start this transformation.
Wonderful, wonderful. Because, Mr. Roland, like we always say, I think the West has a twisted view when it comes to Africa. When they keep using words like poverty, right? Desperate, malaria, disease, that is not true. Poverty is not the absence of resources. It's not the absence of money or riches. Poverty is a disabling frame of the mind. And once you're in that frame of mind, no matter how much money they give you, you will never get out of it. So Africa is not poor. We Africans just have a disabling frame of the mind for 6 decades that we have been dependent, because we think that food can only come from outside and not from within us. So the nation's university, Builders University, is the information, I'll call it vehicle for the Cameroon Sustainable Development Project. And we are glad that stories like this could be amplified so the greater Cameroonian population can understand that we have what it takes right there within us to make that meaningful change and transformation. Thank you so much, Mr. Fru. I'll be bringing you as we go ahead. It's a wonderful piece. Please, if you're tuning in, we are live at the launch of the Cameroon Dream book by Reverend Roland Fru, a man with a masterpiece of a vision. Because each time we cannot dream beyond 20, 30 years, there's no way we can move forward, because we can only move forward if 2, 3 generations after us can move forward. So thank you so much. At this point, I would like to introduce one of Cameroon's has embraced the odds right within Cameroon. Somebody who believes that through Cameroonization, we can be able to catch up with the developed world. And please, we have our second guest speaker tonight in the person of Mr. Bertrand Abongwa, an astute businessman, somebody who has inspired so much, not only in Cameroon, but across Africa. Somebody who's telling us here in the West that within the confines of our countries, there exists so much potential that you must not travel in order for you to be able to make it, because it is in your mindset and not about your environment, because it's about you, not about your environment. Mr. Bongwa, it is a pleasure to have you here, and we do not take you being here for granted. Welcome to the book launch, Mr. Bongwa. Thank you for believing in the dream. Thank you for employing our young men and women back home who are desperate, not because of their own, but because they find themselves in dire situations because of the Anglophone crisis. Next, I'm going to move to introduce one of Cameroon's finest. This is somebody, I call him every day my coach and my mentor. He speaks for posterity. And each time he talks, I'm always very keen, because, you know, in order to grow, we must first of all be able to learn. And that's why we are all here today gathered as Cameroonians and friends of Cameroon who have come to share this singular vision on a blueprint that will provide a robust nation that we'll all be proud of. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor to introduce Mr. Gustav Achu, a visionary, and as somebody who articulates success, who articulates.
Greetings, my fellow brothers and sisters of Africa and Cameroon in particular. My name is Njogo Boniface, alias Orlando. I am currently here in Turkey, Istanbul. I shall be talking something concerning this book launch written by one of our brothers, Reverend Roland Fru, not Fru indeed, but this time a Reverend. You know, in every era or every epoch in history, leaders are always born. And I think that this book, The Cameroon Dream, is just a time bomb in Cameroon to foster peace. The Bible says, blessed are the peacemakers. That is one of the greatest sermons that was ever preached by our Lord.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. At this point, we have an opportunity to listen to one of America's finest, somebody who has transformed so many lives, somebody whenever he speaks wisdom, because he has been able to provide a blueprint with a track record for providing impact even to the most less privileged in our communities. But I do not have the honor to introduce him. I would want to pass this over to Mr. Reverend Fru Roland, who will introduce our next guest speaker.
That man came from our church lunch and gave the highest donation for that church lunch that day. We were in connection. We were talking. One day he called me and said, a friend of mine just moved from California. He's in Austin, Texas. I want you to meet him. And I met Mr. George, a very humble man, a very successful man, a leader, a father. This man runs an organization with his partners, and he has generated over $100 million in revenue. 12,000 licensed agents. That is 12,000 people have employment because of this man. I want to say Mr. George has been an incredible source of inspiration to me, a leader, a friend. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Mr. George Palayo.
Very few people take on trying to fix a country. I'll never forget, we went to Haiti on a missionary trip. And when I was there, I saw the amount of poverty, no trash system, fires on the side of the road, people burning trash. I saw where people live. I saw the way people take showers. And, you would go out in the middle of this little hut and soap up and make sure you don't use all the water and things that we just, you could take for granted. And I said, man, how do you fix a country? How do you go fix a country? And I had never asked myself that question. My dad's from Cuba. Many of you guys know, Cuba is a communistic country, and he left in 1968. And there were these, promises to the people that were going to be made. None of those things happened. And today, people depend on the government to feed them. And they're starving. They're hungry. It's very difficult. Maslow's laws of needs. It's very difficult to dream, right? To dream when you're hungry. Not going to say you cannot do it. A lot of people dream because they are hungry of one day not being hungry. But it's very few people. And so I saw Cuba, I saw Haiti, and I asked myself a question. And I said, man, it really requires a stable government that can create a place for businesses to come and exist. And that those businesses could then create jobs. And then those jobs, right, could help fund other small businesses and this cycle. And so I thought about it. Okay, well, it starts with a very stable government. But then you have to take a step back. And what builds a very stable government? When the United States was formed, many of the people that served in the United States were entrepreneurs in the government. They were entrepreneurs in the government. They didn't have a salary. They volunteered. It was pastors. It was people that had leadership roles. And this is very important, that built something before. People that had leadership roles that built something before. There is a difference between a creator and a manager. And when a person has built something, whether that's a church, a business, when they built anything that is successful, they understand how to think. They understand how to make decisions. They understand how to process. And what truly changes the difference between all of us is the way that we think. And the challenge is that unless we go through and really take ownership of our own lives, our own situations, then we will blame other people for our circumstances. And there's a big reason that most people like to depend on somebody else to take care of them, even if it's not what they want, because they fear failure. more than they feel control and poverty. They fear failure more than they fear control and poverty. And so when I got into the industry, my dad growing up, he always said, George, don't be like me. You got to go become an entrepreneur. You got to go build your own business. The only way you're ever going to be free financially is if you own your own business. The only way you're going to be able to get up in the morning and do whatever you want to do is if you own your own business. The only way you're going to be able to travel the world is if you own your own business. The only way you're going to be able to give your kids the life you want is if you own your own business. So growing up, I've seen a person that's been hurt financially, struggled financially, and a lot of the arguments in the household are financial arguments. A lot of the stress in the household is financial stress. And I just said, man, I don't want to live this way. I don't want my family to live this way. I don't want my parents to live this way. I don't want my future wife and kids to live this way. What do I need to do? And I started with a book. It was powerful. I started with a book by this gentleman right here. This was the first book I ever read. Okay. We actually had a chance. We actually had a chance to actually have him on one of the shows. And so I started with this book. You can live the rest of your life and not have to go work to earn, meaning that you have enough assets or passive income, one of the two or both. You have enough assets or passive income to where you don't have to work. Freedom, that all of your bills can be paid. Okay, you can live, you can travel, you can do everything you want. Freedom, financial freedom. But the fourth one is purpose. And I think it's very few people that get to purpose that are not, and I admire those that do, they get to purpose without getting to freedom. Because I think getting to freedom is part of being able to go pursue the purpose. If you're drowning, your family's hurting, your kids are hurting, it's hard for us to do that. So when you look at what side of that quadrant, right, the left side or the right side, the employee, the self-employed versus the business owner and investor, I think it starts with entrepreneurship. I think it starts with being a free thinker. I think it starts with being able to bet on yourself. I think it starts with taking chances. I think it starts with encouraging one another. And you have this person that takes an idea and turns it into reality. And then from there, I think the encouragement is needed because it's very difficult to run a business. I've been in business for 19 and a half years. We've done well over $100 million in business. We do around $40 million a year right now. Per year. So it's very difficult. And what it requires, and this is where I see most people fail, it requires massive amounts of energy. Massive amounts of energy into changing the minds of people in a 45-degree direction. And I say 45-degree because it's the perfect balance between up and forward. Up and forward, 45 degrees. It requires an immense amount of energy to move yourself, number one, to be that constantly, because we have a choice to give in, to think small, to be afraid, to quit, to get comfortable. And our commitments are absolutely connected to other people's blessings. Your discipline is connected to somebody else's blessing. And when you decide, if you decide the hardest thing for you to be in this world, for me, the hardest thing to be is not a business owner. It's the leader. The hardest thing to be is a leader. Because when you're a leader, you can lead by position or permission. Position, hey, I make this much money and I have this. Permission, the way that you live your life is a reflection of your leadership. The way you are in your marriage, the way you are with your children, the way you are in business, the way you are with your employees, the way you are with your community. Are you that real person when nobody's watching you? And if you're that person, if people can become that person, it doesn't matter what we're trying to solve, we will find a solution. And so that, I think, starts to happen when you make that shift from an employee to an entrepreneur, to a real business owner. And lastly, the business owner part, in terms of finances. I think it's so important to manage finances with full transparency as if you were being watched. Because when you're in a position of power, when you're in a position of money, when you're in a position where you have a lot of resources, you can mismanage them. And your mismanagement, we've seen companies that are 100-year-old companies mismanage finances and then destroy a lot of different people's lives along with it. So I love the book. I love what it stands for. I love the fact that it's trying to teach people that it starts with them. And I think, like, and I'll finish with this, as I started it, there's definitely a need for personal finances in our lives, because I think until where you have some financial support, some financial dignity, some financial strength, and that is a whole other class that's completely different than what this calls for. But people getting their personal finances in order, managing their money correctly, debt-free, and building a business allows people to be free thinkers. When you no longer are controlled by anybody else because your financial... Finish with how I started. I think in order for a country to change, it requires a steady government that creates a position for local businesses to exist, that creates a position for employees and jobs to exist, so that the majority of people can function and live their lives. So if it starts with government, then it goes back to say, well, what makes a strong government? And I think it's people that are creators. I think it's innovators. I asked Vivek Ramaswamy, who was running for president of the United States. We had him on our podcast, and I asked him a question, and I said, hey, what can I do to help support America? Some of you guys, you're on this call. What can you do to support Cameroon? Right? And he says, you already are. You've created an opportunity for other people to have jobs, to be able to pay their bills, to feed their families. So I think entrepreneurs are going to be the solution to Cameroon. I think business owners, people that go out there and start their own businesses and succeed, will eventually move into positions when they've achieved, when they've gotten past survival, they've gone past status, they've gone past freedom, and they get into purpose. I think at that point, they're in a position because they understand how to do it. Not from theory, but from application. And I think that will start to be a shift. And you're seeing that in the United States of America, and you'll see that anywhere in the world. People want freedom, and that starts with leadership. So I'm excited for the book. I love, I was talking to Roland about the concept in terms of how to make it sticky, and the different parts that it covers. They are the foundation of every society. And I think it's going to be a great book, and I think it's something that has to get into schools, and I think it has to get into leaders' hands. And it's hard to start a vision and to keep it alive because it requires a lot of energy. So I really admire Roland for taking on this and setting up a call like this, and all the different leaders. I saw the lineup of speakers, and I'm like, there's a lot of energy that goes into this. And so I just want to salute you guys. If you're one of the speakers on, thank you for being such a great example in the world, and contributing your time and your energy and your abilities. And Roland, God bless you, brother. It's you're an incredible individual. God has a great calling on your life, and you're going to do some amazing things together. And I can't wait to see the movie that you make. So I'll turn it back over to the host. Thank you very much.
Wow, Mr. Pelayo, thank you so much. If we have drawn any lessons from your submission today, is the fact that entrepreneurship is the driving force behind any nation. So what is more critical in a country like Cameroon is the fact that our school curriculum, what we teach our children in school, needs to be revised, and a complete shift from seeking conventional education to seeking marketable opportunities. And this can only happen when the government creates the enabling environment and the framework through which entrepreneurs can blossom from the bottom, because development has a bottom to top approach and not a top to bottom approach. But in your life, one more question before we go, Mr. Pelayo. In a situation like in Cameroon, where there's a lack of the institutions, there's a lack of capital, and there's a lack of will, what do you think could be the most important ingredient in driving entrepreneurship, especially for the youth?
I think it's them seeing that somebody else can do it. We all need somebody that we've seen do it.
Mentorship.
I think there's a lot of people from your country that have made it very successful.
Yes.
in other parts of the world. You know, I can only speak about the United States.
Good.
I think there's a lot of really successful people. You know, there was a shift, by the way, in immigration where people used to come to America, learn, then go back and bring that to their country.
Good.
And today people come to America, they learn, and then they stay. So the reality is until and it's a sacrifice.
Yes.
You know, you look at the president of the United States in terms of his age, and I don't care what party you are, either age.
Wonderful.
Right? Some want power, and some really want to actually make a better opportunity. I think there's a season of people's lives that have made it that we do have to give back. And I understand, you know, people are older, kids, family, parents. I know there's a lot of dynamics that stop sometimes people from giving back. So however you can give back, whether that's supporting, maybe it's not maybe it's your time. Maybe it is mentorship. Maybe it is financial support of other people that are starting businesses. Maybe it's an organization that you start that helps fund businesses there. Maybe it's an organization that you create like this call to mentor the next 1,000 up and coming entrepreneurs of Cameroon. And it's a 12-month course that people go through. So it goes back to creating an environment for the right people to develop. So how you guys go about that, it is challenging. And that's why most people don't do it. And you're doing it on this call. It's changing people's minds. It's exposing them. They need to see that. They need to be exposed.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Pelayo. Thank you so much. Having you, I read a little bit about you when, you know, I saw your name here. But again, you know, you have said it all. It's all about collaboration. It's all about shifting, you know, towards entrepreneurship. That's how we can build a better Cameroon. That's how we can build a better world, because that's how we have built a better United States of America. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. We always come back to you to tap to your wisdom and everything. And if you're just tuning in, we are live at the book launch, The Cameroon Dream by Reverend Roland Fru, a pragmatic individual who has laid down a blueprint for unity, peace, prosperity, reconciliation, and development for Cameroon. We are here today with a distinguished panelists, all giving ideas on how we could give our personal contributions, no matter how small, in moving this nation forward. And next, I would like to introduce our official sponsor, and we are grateful for the opportunity that you have provided for us. It is called Nala Money Transfer, and I have the opportunity to have Mr. Jacob Adegoke, who is the African Community Manager for Nala Money Transfer. Mr. Jacob, the mic is yours. And thank you for your sponsorship. Please, if you send money to Cameroon, make sure you download the app at the App Store, Nala Money Transfer. Mr. Jacob will talk more about it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. And thank you for this wonderful, amazing event. Wow, I've learned a lot from all the speakers. And thank you, you're a wonderful host. And thank you, Roland, for giving us the opportunity to partner with you. And real quick, without taking too much of your time, you guys know Africa is 1% built. We lose at least, about 2 years ago, we lost 8 billion to fees. So that's why we now have For Us by Us. This is our own money transfer that got started by a Tanzanian by the name of Benjamin Fernandez. So in a nutshell, who are we? We offer cross-border payments. That's what we do. We make sending money internationally easier and faster than ever. Do you know about 95% of our transfers arrives in minutes? At Nala, we decided to prioritize two goals: reducing the cost and increasing reliability for sending money back to Cameroon. We partner with governments to acquire licenses, which in turn, this enable us to build innovative products and services. We're locking faster, safer, and more reliable cross-border payments. We have offices in US as well as in London and Nairobi. So we are very pleased to partner with Reverend Roland and be a main sponsor for this event. So I have an offer for all of you. For everyone that goes to Nala app, actually, I have a QR code, which I don't know how you can help me get that QR code up, Mr. Roland. if you go to Nala, the Nala app, and when it comes to entering a code, enter CAM Times, CAM Times. That's for Cameroon Times. And for everyone that downloads and now activates our app, so you just don't sign up, you activate, you put in all your information, we will give you a free copy of Mr. Roland's book on us. Not only that, give you $10 in addition. So when you go and send money, so altogether, that's a $30 bonus for everyone who downloads and activate Nala.
Again, Mr. Jacob, I want the audience to be really tuned to it and understand how Nala brings in the necessary support, not only for this book, but in energizing and providing value-added solutions in terms of reducing the cost of transfer. Because when you look at the cost of transfers, everywhere in the world, Africa is exorbitant. So if Nala is coming in, I think that message should be amplified. Go ahead, Mr. Jacob.
Yes, so thank you so much for that. And not to take too much of your time, when you guys are talking about Africa, building Africa. So I had the great opportunity to be at the presidential convention that just happened. And I got to talk to some people, including Marco Rubio and Vivek and a couple other people. And you know what? They talk about Africa. Africa is where it's going to be in the next few years, and we have to empower ourselves. I'm telling you right now, not to get on the negative side, but we are giving too much away for nothing in Africa. People are making billions in Africa. So we need to empower ourselves. You need to be able to send money back home, invest in property, invest in businesses, bring that money back home, and we will help you. We are moving money and adding value. So that's why I'm starting with this offer for all my Cameroonian friends today. Everybody on the panel, please go to Nala Money Transfer app right now, okay, and sign up. And when it's time to put in your code, do you have a code? Just go ahead and put in CAM Times, CAMTIMES, and all those proceeds go towards empowering Cameroon. So, and then after you download and you activate, you get a free book. You get one of these amazing books that's written by Reverend Roland, which is based on achieving prosperity for Cameroonians. And on top of that, when you go to send money, if you send $10, we give you that $10 back. So try our app. My rate for today, are you ready? My rate for today to your country is $6.24.
Okay, 624. I last night I logged in with some other app. It was a 618. So if you're at 624, I think that's a good incentive. And I just want to let the audience know that the app is actually on the screen. The app is there. The QR code is on the screen. Please log into that QR code and use CAM Times. You get $10, and then you get a copy of the book, The Cameroon Dream by Reverend Roland Fru. And Mr. Jacob, I just wrote an article yesterday on Friday on LinkedIn. It says the rethinking remittances in the context of sub-Saharan Africa's domestic resource mobilization. In one of them, see, every year about 100 billion flows into Africa as remittances, right? Yes. And when you look at those numbers, it is more than official foreign direct flows and also official debt going to Africa. So if we optimize remittances, we may not have to depend on external debts. Because you look at a country like Gambia, Gambia's remittances is about 27% of its GDP. So what we are saying is that if we can reduce fees for remittances, then we'll have more money which will go into local economy that can be used to increase consumer spending, that can be used to cut foreign debt. So remittances, this is something that is very, very important. And I think Nala should really take this message and take it to every corner of the world, because Africa needs this.
Yes, that's what we want to do. Nala wants to you as well, all these events that you guys are having in the Cameroonian community, please welcome us. We will partner with you. We will sponsor you. We will be there. We do everything. We know how important it is moving money to Cameroon. So we're ready. Nala, trust us, try us, and see what we're ready to offer you, especially good exchange rates. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nala, again. The QR code is on the screen. Get the code, get $10. Go to nalamoneytransfer.com. Is that the website?
Yeah, you can either scan the code or just go to Nala, nala.com, www.nala.com. And then when you sign up, make sure you put in the code CAM Times, because that helps Reverend Roland and his book.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so thank you so much. Thank you so much to our sponsors. Please make sure you download, get the QR code, and support money transfer. Ali Mazri said the only way Africa can grow is we can indigenize what is ours. This is from us. This is a money transfer from us that will benefit us. So we encourage you to be part of it. Thank you so much, Mr. Jacob. Thank you. Thank you. We'll bring you back again more in the program. At this point, I have the honor to introduce a friend of Africa, a friend of Cameroon, somebody who is so passionate about growth, somebody who sees opportunities where there are bound difficulties, somebody who believes that within the crux of the Cameroon story can emerge the best of us, because he says rainbows only come after a storm. At this point, please help me welcome Mr. Jesus Otis, a business strategist, a man who speaks so well, a man who transforms and inspires. Mr. Jesus, the mic is yours.
Man, I just want to give thanks to Reverend Roland. Thank you for this opportunity of being here. And every guest, shout outs to Jorge Pelayo. I've been wanting to meet him. I know he's the co-founder, Mr. Patrick Bet-David. So I know pretty much around them. So I'm very thankful and grateful to be here. I'm just going to start with this. He said something that captivated me, and it's good because this is what I'm going to actually speak about here. He said purpose. And we always don't take seriously about purpose, the power of purpose, coming out with the power of community. Because you have to have community behind it. You have to have purpose. And sometimes it's not only one purpose. You might have many purposes. God didn't just created us with one purpose. You might have 2, 3, 4, or just one main purpose. But those purposes that you have, make sure that you go out there in this life, in this realm that you have right now, and go with it. Go with it hard. Don't think about anything. Just go with it, because if you have God here in your heart, there's nothing's gonna happen to you. The purposes are gonna align with you, with what you're doing. But I always tell people life is tough and hard because we cannot predict what's gonna happen next. We can't predict that. So just like I'm sitting down here talking to you guys, maybe I have a text, and maybe a text about, hey man, your uncle's sick or your mom is sick. You can't predict none of that. The next question to you guys, are you ready for that? Because a lot of people don't set their mindset on being like, damn, you're right. If something happens right now when I'm speaking or whatever you're at the store, are your mindset ready for that? Are you trained for that? Who actually look at it and be like, all right, what do I do? A, B, C, or D? Why should I take action from it? And I want you to take this and push it out there, guys, within yourself. Like I said, once again, I'm so grateful to be here with you guys, to be a part of this. I actually speak a lot on the youth. I actually done a lot of things on schools, programs, kidpreneurship, teaching our youth, the kids from a younger age, how to financial literacy, how to start their own business at a younger age. I have a daughter, she's 12. So my story base is on my daughter. So everything happened because of that. It hit me, and God saw something in me that is like, that's one of your purposes, Jesus. So if you're out there and that's one of your purposes, either is the youth, either is the community, everything has to be with the community. Like I said, I took everything that I have within me, within my power, within my story that happened with me, with my daughter, and all of this stuff, that I'm like, man, I want to help the youth. I want to help the community. I want to build communities. I want to volunteer. And some of those stuff, we neglect that, to volunteer and give time to things that we're like, it's not money around there. Trust me, I'm putting myself in it, because I used to not volunteer for anything. And I'm like, man, I can't do that. If I have time to sit down and do nothing, why don't I put my time to help a community and grow with that community? Put some of your time and help around. There's people out there right now that they don't have food, or they're not going to celebrate Thanksgiving because the money is not there. Make sure you put yourself around that community and help. Community is very, very important, guys. And the youth, man, I just cannot say this, but youth is very, very important. They are the next generation. And if we don't teach them the right things, and we don't let them align with themselves and know what's in the real world, man, they're going to fail, but they have to fail. Just as you're failing and you keep on failing in their business or whatever it is that you're starting, man, this is the beautiful part. The more you fail, you're going to get to that success. And I tell people, man, I'm excited when I fail. Next thing, the next project, the next business, any idea. And I'll be like, I ain't going to do that. I already failed so many times with that. So I'm happy that I know now, because of myself, not only myself, but of the community that I'm with. They help me go through it. They help me go through all of these things. So guys, please pay attention to your community and build your community, man. Sometimes we're afraid to, oh man, I gotta be in that table. No, man. You build your own table, you build your own window, and you make sure that they come to you. Sometimes you got to create that community so people believe in you, and you have to believe in you. And sometimes that's something that we got to work on. We say it all the time. Oh man, I believe in myself. No, you don't. And I'm putting myself in it, because you don't. We think that we do believe in ourselves, and we give ourselves 80%. Give 100% of you, of truly believing yourself, truly go deep within you. And I'm like, damn, I do gotta believe in myself, because Bob and Joey, they believe in my dream. And if they believe in my dream, man, that's hopes for me to actually accomplish what I need to accomplish. So believe in your dream, believe in the power of community, believe in the power of purpose, believe in you, believe that anything that you set your goal, your mind, your clarity sight in front, it will happen. But remember, anything can happen at any time. No one's perfect. I don't want to be perfect. But remember that anything can happen. But are you ready? Are you ready to have this? Because it all starts here. So remember that. And once again, man, Reverend Roland, when we just had a few minutes of talk, maybe 10, 15 minutes of talk, and I just learned a little bit about his dream and the book and stuff, I was like, man, agriculture, the media, and all of the things that he wants to do and create. That's like he's already building a community. He already has that community. He's building it even stronger. And with us being here, guess what we're doing with our energy? We're already helping him building it even stronger. So thank you once again, Reverend Roland, because I think you're here in Houston. So if you are, let's have a coffee and sit down, and let's make sure that this actually comes to reality for Cameroon, and that we have that opportunity to actually spread the community and make it even bigger. And like I just said, even if we have to open another table, let's make that happen. Thank you, guys.
Wow, Mr. Ortiz. I feel like I should get that cup of coffee right now. You invited Roland, but you did not invite me. No problem. Mr. Ortiz, it takes youth mentorship in order for us to build community resilience. Because when we build community resilience, it's not about what happens to us, but it's about how we craft the future. I love that coming from you, Mr. Jesus. I love that. You have talked a little bit about building youth in our community. You see, one of the biggest problems in Africa is youth unemployment. And some of that employment is not because of the lack of opportunities. Sometimes through the youth, they have what we call structural unemployment. The youth too, on their part, don't want to give what it takes in order for them to move from point A to point B. So what would you say to encourage the youths who feel like they are at a disadvantage, youths who feel like they have nobody to talk to, youths who feel like they have no money, like they have no space? What would you tell them, Mr. Ortiz?
Oh man, this is a great question, and I can actually tell you this. This summer, I actually did. A friend of mine put me in a program on for 2 middle schools, and I actually realized that a lot of these kids are missing love. A lot of
Yes.
these kids
Yes.
are missing the power of love from their parents.
Good.
They need that. They
Yes.
need that. They're lacking that. So I
Mentorship.
just want to let you know, guys, that ask for help. Who cares about what you think that that other person is gonna think about you? Because it might be a stupid question. They ain't no
Wonderful.
stupid question.
Wonderful.
Do it. Ask for help. Sit down with somebody, an adult like myself, somebody that's trying to help you go to the world. And any dream doesn't have to be that you're in school. If you're not in school, if you want to go to school, any dreams are available for you, man. All of them. Those, you don't have to have money. You just gotta have the right mentor. You just gotta have the right coach. But I know I understand that I don't know what to do. I'm in a situation with this and that. Trust me, we are in a situation. You
Wonderful.
right now watching me are in a situation that you probably.
If you're just tuning in, we're live at the book launch, The Cameroon Dream by Reverend Roland Fru. Ali Mazri defines development as modernization minus dependence. Africa must be able to indigenize. We must be able to take modernization, take technology, and make it to reflect our local reality. And I happen to have one of Cameroon's finest voices, somebody who embodies hope, somebody who embodies self-confidence, because he argues if you are not confident of yourself, you will fall for anything. But once you build confidence in yourself, once you build that craft within your own industry, anything coming from outside will come in as a form of partnership and not as a form of domination. This person has defied all the odds, all the insults. You may argue about his approach, but one thing is clear. He has been able to set a trajectory through which we as Cameroonians will love, believe, inspire, and transform the entertainment community in Cameroon. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce to you the doctor of 80/20, the man who has stopped at nothing to tell us Cameroonians, you are the best and nothing but the best. Being here today as part of this book launch is an opportunity for us and a dream come true. Please help me welcome no other than the entertainer, the comedian, the father, the inspirational speaker, Mr. CY Opancho International. As he was talking, I was thinking about you, how you came to the United States, defied all the odds, went back home because you believe in the dream back home, and the dream is working for you. So what has worked most for you? Is it the opportunities that you provide for your employees or young people, or is it the leadership that you bring to young people?
I think it's both.
Okay.
The opportunity that Cameroon is still very, very untapped, and
Wonderful.
the fact that when you just are a little extra, you provide that extraordinary atmosphere where success is inevitable. And take for instance, we created a group of companies. We have health, we have construction, real estate, and so on and so forth. If I had to create that same kind of company in the United States, the competition is huge, the challenges are more, but it was easy to create that company in Cameroon with less than $1 million, and then it begins to grow. So the opportunities are mind-blowing, and the leadership spices everything and makes success inevitable, I guess.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Which works best for you? Is it a servant leadership or is it a manager leadership? Because it's important. Your approach to leadership is important. I want us to talk about this, Bertrand. Go ahead.
Yes, I think the servant leadership is the best.
Okay.
And I think that is the problem of Cameroon, because the leader thinks he is the boss.
Yes.
But if you are the leader, it means you are the number one servant, meaning the most common person should be able to send you around. So if you are a leader and you just sit on a high table and everyone should serve you, then that's the problem. And personally, I think that is a slave mentality. If I can have a minute here or two, if you remember in those days of slavery, the slavers will ask our chiefs to catch our people. It was our people that caught our people,
yes,
and gave to the slavers.
Yes.
So those people who were catching our people, who were our people, were free. So it was like once you are free, you have to oppress the other person.
Okay,
yes.
Good.
So we still have that problem to today, where when somebody is emancipated, when somebody has money, the first thing he thinks about is to oppress the next person.
Wonderful.
And that is what is happening in the leadership in the country. If somebody becomes a governor or somebody becomes a DO, the first thing is, do you know who I am? Of course, I know who you are. You are a servant. You're supposed to serve us. You're supposed to make things better. But then because of that slave mentality, because of that prisoned mind, you want to use that to oppress the people instead.
Wonderful.
And that's where we get it wrong in our leadership system in the country, I think.
Wonderful. So we use our opportunities instead of us to inspire and be able to talk to our people. We become strangers in our own predicament. That's what it is. Mr. Bertrand, don't go. There's much to talk about. I'm going to go back to CY Opancho International. CY, are you with us? Let's try you.
Okay.
Work for that transformation in Cameroon. And how long do you think this could be possible?
I think that the 7 industries would definitely provide the transformation, because I would say Cameroon has the raw materials in terms of actual raw materials and in terms of the brain, the youthful population, and so on.
Good.
What it takes, in my opinion, is just the right leadership. What it takes, in my opinion, is for people who have gone out to learn, because there is a lot I've studied out of the country, including America, in terms of engineering. So what I do as a person, we get students on internship. I have a standing order in the company. I am the only one, as the CEO of the company, that can decline somebody on internship, which means the management can approve whoever they want. But in case they see that somebody should be disqualified, I am the only one who can do that. That's because I want to give opportunity to everybody. So we have people leaving the university, coming to the company, learning modern ways of engineering, modern ways of construction, and we kind of create impact, because that person goes and teaches another person.
Good.
We actually tell you that it's free, like you don't get to pay us money, but what you need to do is that since you've learned free, make sure you teach some other person free. So if we take this approach, I think 5 to 10 years, the country should experience a very drastic transformation.
Wonderful. Do you think the current political dispensation will provide the enabling environment for these industries to thrive? Where do you think change is needed most? Is it from the political realm, or is it from the private realm?
Okay, I think 100% is from the private realm.
Okay.
Because no matter who is president or head of state, nothing much is going to change. The best that a head of state can do, a government can do, is to create an enabling environment. But there is something that's powerful about us. You can create an enabling environment even if the government doesn't want to. So it's definitely going to come from the private sector. If we take people like Reverend Roland Fru, and we have 10 of them, 20 of them, 30 of them multiplying themselves all around the country, before you know it, any system will bow. So it's from the private sector.
Wonderful. I like that. I like that because when you look at it, how come that in sub-Saharan Africa, the richest people are politicians? But when you come to the West where we borrow money, 90% of the rich people are businessmen. So there's something wrong with that equation. And it takes a mindset shift. And that's why when Reverend Roland talked to me about this program, I was like, you know what? This is something I want to be part of it. This is when we write history, we want to be clear on how we write this history. Let's be clear not to tell the people on the other side that are our enemies. No, let's realize that the technology was one key ingredient. And what did they do? They created the Bao villages, which were centers where resources could be shared for research and development, where young people could go there and build apps, could go there and do trade-in. Young people could go there, and this is how China was able to become the manufacturing destination in our time. It can be done. It takes leadership. It takes people who are forward-thinking, who are pragmatic, and who understand the 7 leadership relation rule. And it's all about how we can give our meaningful contributions to the country of Cameroon.
I think it's getting interesting. I'm liking it.
Wonderful. Okay. Yes, I wanted you because I was just talking about the CSDP project and how your argument is based on the fact that these 7 industries could be able to transform Cameroon. But Reverend Roland, you are speaking as a diasporan. If Bertrand talks to me, I'll listen. But you are speaking to me as a diasporan. So, how would you make sure that, are you going to move to Cameroon to get this dream realized, or will you stay here to build the necessary partnership and collaboration that will be able to provide you for the funding for this project? Tell us a little bit about this.
It's quite an interesting question, and I love this kind of interactive conversations. I've studied someone like Elon Musk for a very long time. Donald Trump, Peter Thiel.
Wonderful.
Some of the greatest inventors of our time. The human potential is not limited. And one of the things I learned, especially from somebody like Elon Musk, is how he breaks down problems and solve really complex issues. He says he always goes down to first principles, because sometimes people try to solve problems at maybe just put it and it's very complex and they can't even wrap their minds around it. And so we say always go down to first principles. Like if we know mathematics, we know BODMAS. BODMAS is the standard to help you understand how to compute mathematical equations.
Yes.
So that foundation, like I said, we came up with a minimum viable product. And just to test, can someone from Cameroon, in Cameroon, be inspired to do something for themselves in their environment? That hypothesis alone says it is possible. Some people say maybe because I'm in the United States of America. No, I've always been like this since I was born. It's the same energy, it's the same me. My family would tell you that, my friends would tell you that. I've always been somebody that wants to do something. So what is my point? If you have the drive, because anything in this life can be trained. Like I've heard the terminology of enabling environment, and that is a term that was coined out by somebody who studied forestry some years ago in Europe, and through the United Nations it became a term that they are using to hold Africans down and saying, oh, they need an enabling environment. And so they are hoping for that. Right. If you look at the story of David and Goliath, the Israelites were in the field, they were small. And I'm sure they needed an enabling environment, but they didn't have that, right? But David came with nothing. A stone and a slingshot, brought down a giant and freed his people. These are very basic stories that we know that changed the course of history. So, yes, Mr. Franco, when you hear of the story of Rosa Parks, this was an ordinary woman who had nothing but sat in the train and said to himself, today I'm not going to wake up.
Yes.
I will not wake up and give the seat to a white man. And that particular act changed history. There is a young man in Nigeria called Very Dark Man.
Recording in progress.
This very dark man rose up in his community. This guy lifted up weight and just put on innerwear. And he's been able to start a revolution that is transforming his community.
Yes.
And so these are things that are happening even in Africa and around the world. And some people see this and maybe we think it's a movie, but imagine We have a university that people can study in. We have a marketing company. We have a newspaper company. We have a plan for the next 20 years. Because if people think we need money to start or to build this vision, money is always the least thing that I'm worried about. And that is the same with almost every great leader that I have come across in my life. And if you heard from Josh Pelayo, the same thing. It's the same mindset. If I sit down with Josh and we are talking and he's money is the last thing that comes to his mind. But when the action plan is there, all of a sudden the money starts coming. And this is the mindset that maybe people have had for a very long time. And I think it's still another trap to always make us think that life is about money. You need money to start a business. You need money to start something. Look at what we are doing today. I don't think everybody's here because of money.
Well, wonderful. So Roland, if I may amplify you well, what you're saying here, poverty is not the absence of riches. Poverty is not the absence of money, but a disabling mind frame that we must have a mindset shift before if we are to make any meaningful transformation. So what is it that the movement is putting in place to first of all work on this mindset shift before, because they say you need to change the mind before you download something to eat. What is the movement put in place in terms of the mindset shift so far in our Cameroon?
Yeah. So number one is to make sure that this book get into the hands of many Cameroonians as possible.
Wonderful.
I read a book, Think and Grow Rich, from my father's library at the age of 13.
Okay.
It was a basic story of someone that stopped digging 3 feet from gold. Yes. And he quit the project and left. And the person who came and took that land just dug 3 feet and found gold. So that story has empowered me my entire life from a book. And that is why we are starting with a book. And the basic principle is whatever you do in life, make sure you follow through to the end. I don't put my hands on anything that I will not follow through to the end. So this 20 years commitment, it is going to be back and forth. There will be times I'll be present in the country, other times abroad in other places. We are going to have individuals from America train our people virtually. Some are going to move to Cameroon, spend some time with us, train us on exactly what to do so that we can believe that it is even possible to do that in our country. And I think this is how the project is going to look like. We expect really little from the government. If you hear the big thing about the US presidential election was tariffs, right? President Trump was talking about tariffs. We're going to impose tariffs on China. And why? The reason is because if we impose tariffs on China, then local businesses can grow.
Yes.
So what we really expect from our government, if they are hearing me, what we really expect from our government is to impose tariffs on imports in these 7 industries. So if they can impose tariffs on these 7 industries, now local industries like Bertrand is into construction and he's doing amazing. He's a CEO and he's doing amazing in that industry. I used to cite this story, Mr. Franco. If I'm farming tomatoes and I'm selling tomatoes for say 6,000 francs a bucket, and then you are importing tomatoes, say from China, and you're selling it at 4,500, that means me, the local farmer, will go out of business. So we factor all of this in place, and this is where government plays a role. The talk of government in our country is, it's too much, and it's not helping us, and we don't want to have that rhetoric in our mouth. Like, we want to be direct with this. We can take our destiny into our hands and do it just like other great nations have done. So I think it is our time. I'm super excited. But this is the foundation to getting this dream become a reality. The next thing is, everyone watching this video, we estimated it approximately 5 million Cameroonians are between the age of 10 to 24. So we can have them have this book. So you can not only just buy this book for yourself, you can buy this book for a youth in your community. This is one thing that is fascinating, Mr. Franco. Cameroonians will predominantly fund this project. If help comes from foreign nations, for me, I have connections that we can go that route, but that should be a bonus. When we work on something, look at what we are doing here. As I'm putting in the time and doing what I'm doing, and with everybody gathered here today, it tells me that we will protect what we are building now. And we will instill this spirit in our children, and they will learn to grow up and protect whatever they are building. Business owners, churches, community leaders, mayors, whether you own a farm, a factory, you need to buy this book. You need to share this book. You need to, provide copies for young people in your community. And this is why, if you're a business leader, a member in the government in the country, this is why it is important to have this book. Because if you think you get this information just for yourself, and you say, okay, like Mr. Bertrand cited, the person who wants to prove that I am the boss in the room because of that slave mindset. And that is a hindering factor. Guess what? You are leaving young people that will get angry and frustrated someday, and the same thing we are experiencing right now will happen again. But if you empower them and say, this, I'm not just giving a book to a young person in a community that I don't know them, I am actually keeping the community safe in the next 20 years because I'm building the community by empowering young people in the community. Story of Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass has a fascinating story. This is a slave boy serving his master. And one day the master is coming back home and discovered that the wife is teaching the slave how to read. And the master calls the wife and said, what are you doing? You're teaching the slave how to read. If you teach the slave how to read, he is going to discover that the world is bigger than the one he's living in right now. Frederick Douglass heard that. And he made it a commitment to pick every scrap of paper that he found around. He would read what is on that paper. He would take food from his master's house and give to the poor white children so they can teach him how to read. Frederick Douglass became one of the greatest orators in this country and transformed what we call America through the civil rights movement. With Abraham Lincoln, and he worked extremely hard for the emancipation of black people in this country. Not through war, but because he was able to learn how to read and write. So people look at book and they say they prefer money. No, a book is the foundation to building a nation, to transforming a nation. And there is nothing else I could start with but a book. As I don't claim to have all the answers. I don't claim to know it all, and I want to be upfront with that. But one thing I do know, that we will spark the brains of Cameroonians. And through their own creativity, we will see little buildings and factories and businesses popping up from different angles in the country. I'm not going to build this nation myself. That is why we said we will train 3,000. We didn't say we will build these companies. No, we said we will train these people.
3,000 will have a multiplier effect in their own communities. And from there, every village, every hamlet, every town will be able to write its own story. And that's how we can contribute to writing the national story. And the story of Africa.
You nailed it, sir.
Yes, exactly. That's what it is. I want to go back to Mr. C.Y. Opancho International. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. We can hear you all very well. Ladies and gentlemen, again, I have the opportunity to introduce one of Cameroon's finest, somebody who believes beyond all odds that the best is within us, and all we need to do is tap into it for posterity, for a greater Cameroon, for peace, unity, solidarity, and reconciliation.
Greetings, my fellow brothers and sisters of Africa and Cameroon in particular. My name is Njogo Boniface, alias Orlando. I am currently here in Turkey, Istanbul. I shall be talking something concerning this book launch written by one of our brothers, Reverend Roland Fru. not Fru Ndi, but this time a reverend. You know, in every era or every epoch in history, leaders are always born. And I think that this book, The Cameroon Dream, is just a time bomb in Cameroon to foster peace. The Bible says, blessed are the peacemakers. That is one of the greatest sermons that was ever preached by our Lord Jesus. And that same Bible says, the young shall see visions and the old shall dream dreams. So this Cameroon dream is something every good thinking Cameroonian should rally behind this, our God-given brother who is in the United States of America.
Okay, that's fine. So thank you again once more. Thank you so very much for making me part of this particular great historic book. You see, I used to tell Cameroonians, it takes a collective effort for us to build a strong nation. Everyone has got their role to play. No one is exempted, and it's only you and I who can build this nation.
Yes.
Let nobody lie to you that foreigners will be the one who will come and build our nation. There is no nation on planet Earth that has grown economically strong depending on government employment.
Good.
Never a country.
Wonderful.
It is only the entrepreneurs, those who are engaged and involved in businesses like what you and we are talking right here.
Wonderful.
Government can never provide employment for every citizen. Never. And there is nobody, if you like, prove me wrong. There is no government position or office that is kept vacant deliberately without someone inside that office. So why crying there is no job? Know that the jobs that are available, there are people right there.
Wonderful.
My dear brothers who are listening to me now, sisters, and everybody who is watching me right now, happens to be a victim, a very serious victim in this crisis. How am I a victim? I used to be a successful business person. I used to be a successful farmer. I have invested all of my life into farming. It's cocoa and palm. But when this crisis started 2016, it was unfortunate. I invested my farms in areas that are highly affected by this crisis. That is along the Ekondo Titi Mbonge side, whereby I was not able to go to access any of my farms. I became so down and finished completely. I used to have a snack bar. Unfortunately, my snack bar was located in an area where it was like an abattoir for this crisis. But still, I did not tell myself that, oh, I'm a victim. Let me rush to America to make life, rush to Europe, Canada, or UK. I still believe that I can be part of the people who will help revive this country. Wow. Because with the fact that the country is already spoiled, I don't want to be one of those people. I don't want to be part of those people who have abandoned the country, saying that it is already spoiled. Let's rush with our family to America. Because there is something I believe. Nobody will clean their room for you to step in with mud on your shoes.
Yes.
My dear brothers, listen to me. There was a statement Professor Lumumba said that Africans need to open their borders for every African country to be free to come in and go out. I rejected that statement. Why? Because he was saying, go to Europe, people from Germany can enter France and come out anytime. People from Holland can enter Belgium and come out anytime. Yes, they can. Because why? When a man from Germany enters France, the man of France will be sleeping and snoring because he knows there is nothing in France that German man will come and take and go away with it. They have everything. They have created everything for themselves. What German people have, France people have. What Belgium people have, Italy people have, Belgium, the rest of the Holland people, they have it. So no need to be checking you. Why are you coming in or why are you going out? Because if you are coming to Germany from Belgium, you are coming legally and to do something reasonably for yourself, because you will not abandon Belgium with every opportunities to go and be a street comer in Germany looking for job.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So come to Africa. Why should we open all of our borders when Nigeria has not been able to provide a good environment and strong business for their citizens to be well? Why Cameroon has not provided? Why this other country have not provided for them own?
Yes.
Their people and their government to work every hard to build their country with everything for you to just come and scramble and go and scramble and go. It doesn't work that way. Everyone needs to concentrate on their nation. Make your environment sweet so that if I come, you come. I go, you two go. We are together. I'm not afraid of you. You are not afraid of me. I'm not scared that you come and take my job. Me, people too are not scared that. Are you getting me?
Yes, clear, very clear.
Good. So I came up with my own idea. I said, okay, now I'm finished. Everything is gone.
Yes.
What am I left with? I have the energy. I can go to America to hustle. I can take my family. But I said, no, in this country, I must be part of the development in this country. That is when I came up with the 80-20 idea. I said, hey, gradually we are losing it. Gradually, we are not only losing everything, we are also losing our identity, because we have gradually been made to understand that there is nothing good that can come from us. Nothing good can come from us. Nothing good can come from our land. It is already destroyed. Let's abandon it and go. I said, no, it cannot happen. So I engaged into this 80-20. Without taking much of the time, when I came across Reverend Fru,
yes,
I watched him closely. I watched his preachings. I'm like, damn, this is the man I've been looking for. This is my kind of man.
Wow.
That day I promised Reverend Fru, I said, bro, you can have me any second, anytime. I am behind you. I'm going to support you. And I know you too, you can support me. Let's make this dream happen by building our own nation become strong. Listen to me, my people. Let me tell you truth. Donald Trump is 1,000,000,000% correct with his policies on immigrants. If you and I, all of us, run and abandon this land and go to America, who do you want to build this land so we can come back and enjoy? It's you and I. So those who are coming with creative ideas, businesses, let's concentrate and support and put energy to build our own land. Let me tell you something, my dear brother. Instead of you trying to condemn Mr. Peter, who has built a small, beautiful house in a quartier, why don't you do your own best to build another house which is more beautiful than the one that Mr. Peter built? Because at the end of the day, it is you and Mr. Peter who will be proud of your quartier. Oh, you have a GRA. You have turned your quartier into a GRA. But when you start struggling to finish Mr. Peter because you think his house is too beautiful, without you having capital to build your own, you are not a nation builder, but you are a nation destroyer. So why we are struggling to build this nation, we should be able, instead of you condemning someone's idea or their mistakes that they have made, while trying to build the nation, why don't you do their best so that people can follow you and make the nation great? So, my good people, what I'm saying right here, I want to really, really appreciate you people. And I want to tell you that no one should relent. No one, nobody should deceive you that, oh no, better life is in that way. Better life is in that. No, we have everything here. Do you know that only food alone can make Cameroon the strongest economy in Africa? We are blessed. I mean, food.
Yeah.
Cameroon, let me tell you something. This is practical experience. In every market in Cameroon, if like, for example, Munya, if you go early morning on Monday, because Munya market is always Sunday, go to Munya market early in the morning, you will pick abandoned food, raw food, that will give you at least 3 days meal in your house. Cameroonians, you know what I'm talking about. We are blessed. So if a brother like Reverend Fru come up with an idea like this, let's embrace it with all our heart. Support it so that when the day it will be our own turn, we will also join and support you like that. Together with one spirit, we are going to make Cameroon proud and strong again. It can never be more than us. So this particular book, honestly, the title Cameroonian Dream is indeed the dream. It is our time to revive this nation. We should not follow those who think, who keep saying, no, everything is spoiled, this one is spoiled, this one is spoiled. No, everything is not spoiled. I used to tell people, my friends used to tell me, see why don't you go take your children so they can get a better life in America, UK? I said, no, those people who are DOs, who are colonels, captain, they did not use jazz. It is not magic. My own children too can be those kind of people here and live a good life.
What I was going to ask you, Siwa, your opinion, and everybody's entitled to their opinion, right? Something that Reverend Fru highlighted very well in the book. It talks about the current discord in terms of the mistrust that has proliferated in Cameroon between the Anglophones and the Francophones. So if you are saying that Cameroon can rise as one in peace and build prosperity, what do you think could be the most important ingredient in healing that mistrust between the Anglophones and the Francophones? How can we identify as one? Do you think that's possible?
It is 100% possible, and it's only through conscience. There is no magic.
Okay.
Conscience. When men decide to serve consciously, tell themselves that, hey, what is this and what is happening? You know, it takes a self-conscious man to take a very, very hard decision. A decision that might seem to put you down to the 0 level.
Yes.
It takes a self-conscious man to divide food that is made for his own self to fill the stomach and give it out to 10 people. Brother, it's only a self-conscious act. There is no magic. There is no way you can force. There is no way, no matter how you talk, like I used to say, no matter how you cancel people, they have the final say.
Yes.
No matter the sweet talk, everything you tell them, they have the final say. And their decisions is their decision. If you insist over their decision, it means you are trying to force them, which you are trying to violate their own personal right.
Yes.
You see?
Wonderful.
So what I'm saying is only a self-conscious mindset. When you put your mindset in that self-conscious level, coming with the fear of God, what we need now in this country is to fear God, respect God, and tell ourselves that we don't need peace anymore. All of us.
Okay. And if I understand you very well.
To respond to maybe, like, shout out to CY, a powerful message. I know he is a powerful force in the nation, and we really appreciate individuals of this magnitude with such a bravery and courage in times such as this. I just want to say we are at a point where if we keep running away for real from our own country, there's nobody that would do it for us. If we keep living hoping that there is some better nation or some better place somewhere better than our own country, and it's time for us to start thinking of going back home. And my goal is that in the next 5 years, we will have the highest number of Cameroonians abroad wanting to go back home because of the foundation that we have laid. So I just wanted to amplify or just add something to what Mr. CY said.
Concise, actionable path on how Cameroon could be transformed through the 7 industries that he believes could be, the foundation, for shared prosperity for all. We've been having amazing speakers today. We said we need a mindset shift. The first thing, change only comes when the people are willing to shift from the position of thought to a position of collaboration and partnership. And it's been so blessed today. Today's Monday. It's Ghost Town in Cameroon. Reverend Roland told me he wanted to do this on a Monday so that the people who are in Cameroon will be able to reflect more on our current stalemate and see how collectively we can put hands together and build a better nation. So we'll come back in 10 minutes and continue with part 2 of this program. God bless you. I'm your host, Franco Bongan.
They say money is the root of all evil. But what I have witnessed in Cameroon for the past 7 to 8 years, heads flashed, hands maimed, kidnapped for ransom, people even buried alive. Words can't describe the inhumane cruelty that has taken place in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. With that, I say, poverty is the root of all evil.
Thank you, Reverend Fru, Roland. Thank you, Madam Fru. You guys are a wonderful asset to Cameroon.
A country with a population of approximately 29 million people, 60% below the age of 25, thousands internally and externally displaced, some in jail. The time for change is now.
And I count myself lucky to have come in contact with such a great man with a love for his nation.
Uniting Cameroon through peace, education, and entrepreneurship is the key to ending the conflict, reducing poverty, and achieving sustainable prosperity. This is only attainable through the Cameroon Sustainable Development Project, CSDP.
Once I came, I already gotten my training in the real estate and construction. As we speak, I already started a company in the real estate and construction department.
We have lost more than 40,000 people, properties and villages destroyed. We believe more in natural resources than human resources. Let me ask you a question. If I were to give you $1 billion today, on one condition, that you will die tomorrow, will you choose the $1 billion or will you choose life? If you choose life, that indicates that life is more important than the money. Life is more important than the resources.
Yeah, all thanks to Reverend Fru and the CSDP. They brought experts here from the United States, and they come on regular basis and train us. Yeah. So just within few months, yeah, I'm the CEO of a real estate and construction company. Yeah, so we need to be say open. We need to be attentive. That is it. So we come with an open mind. It must be a beneficiary.
We believe that great people make a great nation. We stand for peace, unity, freedom, and prosperity for all Cameroonians.
Through CSDP, I have learned that an asset brings in money into your pocket, while a liability takes out money from your pocket. Spanish businesses, I want to know how businesses are even set up. So that's one of the things that I've learned through CSDP. Another thing that I've learned through CSDP is what matters is not how much somebody earns, but how much somebody keeps.
I've learned that at my very little corner, the little potentials that I have, I just need to maximize it. I don't need to minimize it. I need to maximize it, and it is going to go a long way to bring out something which could even be hiding in me, and it will go a long way to help 1 or 2 persons that will carry our nation forward.
Il a eu beaucoup plus cette idée quand il a parlé au révérend. Le révérend avait demandé qu'est-ce que tu fais comme business. Il a cité beaucoup de choses et le révérend lui fait connaître qu'il devait se focaliser. C'est à partir de ce moment qu'il s'est focalisé sur l'immobilier et la construction, ce qu'il fait présentement, et il est fier de nous annoncer aussi qu'en faisant cela, juste dans quelques mois, il a déjà eu des contrats. Il a déjà eu les contrats exécutés. Donc,
our mission is to train 3,000 Cameroonians in the 7 industries that are transforming the global economy. These leaders and entrepreneurs will go on to start businesses that will employ fellow Cameroonians, hence eradicating poverty from our nation. With this initiative, we will move the nation's GDP to approximately $1 trillion in the next 20 years.
I remember when I had the interview with Reverend Fru, and I asked him a lot of questions about the project, and really he gave me reassuring answers. One of the questions I asked him was, what if the project fails? Like, how is he going to behave, and how is he going to behave? And I was motivated from the responses he gave, and really I knew from there that CSDP is here to stay, and it is the dream organization Cameroonians have been looking for years.
I want to thank Reverend Fru for this opportunity that he has given us to learn, to change our mindsets, that may God continue to give him strength and wisdom to do more things.
Change is coming to Cameroon.
Equally learned how to manage my environment and to know the kind of people that I associate with, and it has equally helped me to build self-confidence. It has really helped me. I am here today to share my testimony so far on what I have learned in the Nation Builder University and what I have equally learned from Roland Fru in the CSGP. So far, I want to say that the Nation Builder University has been a great help to me, and it has contributed so much in my life, in my career. And I want to thank our founder of this movement, Reverend Fru. I can say it is a privilege that I am among this great organization. And so far with the meetings that I have been attending with Reverend Fru, I have learned a lot from this great man. What inspired me so much about Reverend Fru is that he's a man that loves his nation. He's a man that does not only talk, but is a man of action. And that is the greatest part that has inspired me so much to put in action in whatever thing that I am doing. So I am grateful, and I believe I'll keep learning for the greater good of our nation, Cameroon.
For in the Bible says, "My people perish because of lack of knowledge." So the greatest investment in life is investing in the mind. Investing in the mind. So investing in the mind, you need to keep educating yourself. A nation building university, it's a place, it's an avenue, it creates an avenue for us, for people who are willing to invest in their mind. And Nation Builder University has put in place resources that can facilitate, that can ease, that can accompany, that can help us to build the mindset, to build our mindset, so we're able to stand in the society, to be able to.
Nation Builders University is that platform where the training will begin. Yeah, and I've already begun, and you can see we already have close to 200 registered students in the university who are going across their studies. So that's why the study is very important, because it begins with a change of mindset. You see, all the courses, they are well chosen. They are chronologically aligned, because without a change of mindset, because we have really come through our economy, have gone through quite a lot. Yes, and our minds have been corrupted. Yeah, we have a lot of obsolete or redundant ideas, making it difficult for us to be receptive to change or any new idea. So we need, first of all, a mind renewal. It should be a paradigm shift to our mind before now we can now receive change.
The question is, do you believe you have a role to play to bring about this change? If your answer is yes, click the link below to join the movement.
You can buy the book, The Cameroon Dream, to learn more about how we can make Cameroon a better place. You can also help by donating here, csdphope.org.
Welcome back to phase 2 of the book launch, The Cameroon Dream. Reverend Fru has crafted a blueprint for what he calls an inclusive and prosperous Cameroon. One of the reasons why most countries in sub-Saharan Africa are at 16% of achieving their sustainable development goals is because we have failed to localize these goals to reflect the local, cultural, social, and political reality of our regions. Yes, by Reverend Fru coming out with the Cameroon Sustainable Development Program, he has defined these 7 industries as key if Cameroon is to grow from the bottom to the top. And this growth can only come with a shift in mindset, because we are not poor because we lack, because we are poor because we have a disabling frame of the mind. One of the persons who speaks and inspire us on how to believe in ourselves, on how to take responsibility, on how to own what is us. I call him my coach. Whenever he speaks less, but the volume could never be quantified. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me introduce to you one of Cameroon's finest voices. The man who inspires, educate, and motivate like no other. Please help me welcome Mr. Gustav Achu on the book launch for the Cameroon Dream. Mr. Achu, the mic is yours.
Awesome. Faco, thank you brilliantly. Can you hear me?
100%.
What a great plumping pleasure to just be on the platform today for this launch. You know, when you were introducing me, I was thinking to myself, boy, I'm excited. I want to listen to that person he's introducing. I didn't know you were talking about me, so I'm very honored. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, coach. Take it on, coach. Take it on.
Absolutely. So, in May of 1974, 1964, President JFK Kennedy put together a team of the top scientists in America. The smartest guys ever, been to Harvard. And the lead scientist talked for a few minutes and he told him, Mr. President, the will to win. He didn't talk about fuselages. He didn't talk about the science behind how to get a rocket to the moon. He didn't talk about what it would take engineering-wise. He talked about the human will to win. And now you'll be asking yourself, how is that relevant to the book launch today? In fact, this is probably one of the most touching days of my life and my career as a speaker. I've spoken on multiple stages in my life to thousands of people, but this one really hits home. Because I can tell you for a fact, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. It doesn't matter what location geographically and physically you are. As long as you were born in Cameroon, your heart still finds a place in that land. And so when we see initiatives like this coming together to build partnerships for the construction and advancement of our great nation, it is a very humbling experience for me. I want you to think about an apple. In the apple are multiple seeds inside. And in each of those seeds is an apple tree. And in those trees are multiple apples. And in those apples are seeds. And the seeds have trees. And the trees have apples. And it goes on and on. What I want to talk to you today in the few minutes I have is the importance to not die with your music in you. Maximize your potential as an individual and as a human being that is existing in any part of the world you are, but most importantly, in our great nation of Cameroon. You know, one of the beauty of the times we live in today is that there is no longer geographical boundaries anymore, because the internet has made life a lot more accessible and easier for people to connect. The one question that is still lagging, the one question that you must answer as an individual, as somebody who is geared towards liberating and fighting to build the nation which you are blessed with, is, do you have the will to win? You know, there's something that amazed me the first time I read this about the bumblebee. By the very nature of the body of the bumblebee, it defies aerodynamics that it can be flying. But the blessing the bumblebee has is that it doesn't have a brain or a mind. So it doesn't process like human beings. It doesn't know that it can't fly. So it flaps its wings and it flies. When I think about all the great nations in the world today, the people who built those nations are people like you who decided that they wanted to do something in their individual contributions to build that nation. I know today you've had a bunch of different speakers, but when I look across even the speaker lineup, from my friend and brother Franco, who is serving us today diligently as an MC, he found the will to win. He decided that he was going to go out of the way and work with the gift he has been given by God. Develop that gift, develop that knowledge, and today he owns one of the biggest real estate brokerages both in Cameroon and everywhere around the world. It didn't take any kind of sophisticated education. It doesn't take multiplicities of degrees. It takes the will to win. I want to ask each and every one of you, I want you to look deep into your hearts. What is it that you can bring to the marketplace? Don't worry about what you don't have. Worry about what you already have and start working with what you have. Because all the great things in this life will never be generated by people who focus on what they lack, but by people who accelerate what they already have. You might be sitting there listening to me, maybe from Mundankwe, maybe from Yaoundé, from Douala, from Garoua, wherever you are in the world listening to me today. I want you to take a personal responsibility to ask yourself, am I going to contribute to nation building? And I say this in all humility. I am 47 years old today. I've spent about one third of my life living out of Cameroon and 2/3 of my life in the beautiful country of Cameroon. I visit Cameroon at least 4 times a year. I'm conversant with everything happening. I know that is where my heart, my destiny, my future, my relevance, everything about my being is. I know the respect we deserve for our country will only come from you and me making a decision to contribute with our gifts. Today, I'm contributing to you with the gift I have, which is the gift of communication. You might be sitting here, your gift is just even in repairing shoes. You know what? With a little improvement on that gift, you'll be making shoes. And today with the internet, you can put it on your website in Cameroon and somebody's going to order it from China. Why do you think all these things from different parts of the world and our own? I know a gentleman in Douala, he does sand art. I can't remember his name. I remember the first time I met that young man right there at Bonapriso. Incredible artwork. He can do anybody's image on sand. And today, I see him putting it on Facebook and different platforms, and the volume of interest, orders, and demand is incredible. He cannot even meet up with that. But he is sitting right there in Douala. So what is important for us to understand is the power of information. Today, there is a reason why each and every one of us is online today. Not to talk to you, but to partner with you so we can build a nation worth its name. I truly believe that the most blessed nation on earth is Cameroon. I have traveled the breadth and length of Cameroon at least 5 times. Every city, every division, every subdivision, every capital city, I have been there at least 5 times. I lived and worked in Cameroon in recent times for 3 years. I traveled everywhere. There is no country in the world as beautiful, as gifted, as blessed as Cameroon. Recently, I saw what was trending on the internet. Vinicius, his lineage comes from Cameroon. I wasn't surprised. I see my brother Wax there smiling. He probably wasn't surprised too, because he had identified, like most of you on the call today, that there is something special, there is something unique, there is something great about Cameroonians and their DNA. And let us understand one thing. Let us understand very important thing, that at the end of the day, it's not going to be about the amount of days in your life, but the life in your days. How do you want to be remembered? When it's all said and done, what is the message that you want to be written on your tombstone? I sat here and I was listening to my brother speaking. This guy, CY, old Pancho, you know, the first time I ever saw him on the internet, I've never met him in person, but the first time I ever saw him on the internet speaking, the conviction with which he spoke about Cameroon. Listening to me today, I want to ask you, what is the seed you have in your hand? What is that seed you carry with you? Don't worry about my seed. Don't worry about Franco's seed. Don't worry about Reverend Roland Fru's seed. Don't worry about Mr. Abongwa's seed. Don't worry about Wax Day's seed. Nobody else's seed. What is your own seed you carry in your hand? Yeah. Because in that seed you carry lies a tree. And that tree lies multiple fruits. And those fruits have seeds. And those seeds will multiply the trees. And those trees will multiply the fruit. And I want to tell each and every one of you, that please, as you go back home today, number one, make sure you go away with a copy of the book. But most importantly, go away with a commitment today that never again will I come to a seminar like this without having done something from the previous seminar I came to. Reverend Roland Fru, I want to salute you, sir. You know, the first time you reached out to me and I came on your platform and spoke to some of your students, I was very impressed by your vision. I was very impressed by the drive you bring to what you're trying to do, by the desire and the willingness to say, listen, I am going to die on this mountain fighting to leave something, that even if it's a tree that I'm planting, that I will not sit under people who sit under that tree. Because they say great leaders are people who plant trees under whose shade they will never sit. And when we think about our own lives right now, we should be planting trees under whose shade we intentionally want to make sure we are not going to sit. So that way, 400 years from today, everybody else in the world will be proud to be sitting and talking about Cameroon. But it starts with you, it starts with you, It starts with me, it starts with us, and it starts with the Cameroon Dream. God bless you all, and God bless our great nation of Cameroon.
Wonderful, 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 wonderful. I told you, you got to be ready to listen to this brother talk. Two things. What is your seed? Do not worry about what others have to offer. What do you have to offer? And number two, what is your commitment? How can you nurture that seed to grow? Is that commitment to nation building? But I'm going to go and ask you one question, Gustav. Good. Given an ethnically fragmented country like ours, where distrust between the two systems, between the Anglophone system and the Cameroon and the Anglophone system and the Francophone system, some say that the two systems are very unique and cannot coexist. Some say the two system is a blessing which we can nurture and export. I would like to hear your perspective on this.
Is that for me?
Yes.
I thank you very much, first of all, for that question, Franco. I truly believe, deep in my heart, my furthermost conviction, I truly believe that one of the greatest blessings of Cameroon is the multiculturalism of our nation. It's like a one-stop shop. Cameroon is called Africa in miniature for a reason. Because Cameroon has all the peopling of Africa. Cameroon has all the climatic conditions of Africa. You go up north to Kuseri, you see desert land. You come down to the southwest, you see beach along the Atlantic. You go up to the northwest, you see farmlands, you see rainforests and things like that. You see waterfalls. You go up to the east, you see timber and forest. You go up to the south, you see all kinds of things, right? Cameroon is Africa in miniature in a way, for a reason. I tell my friends out here and colleagues, I always tell them, listen, if you want to visit Africa once and get a sense of the entire Africa, just go to Cameroon. And travel the length and breadth of Cameroon. You go to down there, you find Wazapak and all the different animals probably. You come down to anywhere you want to go, there is something unique, beautiful, not only from the culture, but even from the variety of different things you can see. Yes, there have been politically challenges in our nation. It will be very dishonest for anybody to talk about it as if it doesn't exist or it's not a challenge. It is a challenge. But I believe we are better off building a nation with multiplicity of ideas and people coming together. Look at what is happening today, especially in the generation younger than us. Right? I can't even talk, for example, the art is an industry, right? The art and music industry is the industry that generally helps with consciousness and public information and education, right? Look at what is happening today. A lot of the artists we have in the new generation artists in Cameroon, you can hardly tell where they're from. They're singing Betty, in a Wondo, in Batibo, in English, in Pidgin, in French, in Hausa, in Lamso. That is the nation we have. And what I'm saying is that Cameroon is a relatively young country. I'm sitting here talking from a country that took them 400 years to get it right. I don't say we have to take 400 years, but I'm saying that we are just 60 years old. We are still working on that path. It's a challenging path, but we are going to figure it out and work together. In this country where I'm talking from, Texas used to be a different nation of its own. Different states used to be different people. But they realized that the power is working together. It's not going apart. You cannot go and sit in front of a 1.4 billion China and you're a 3 million population country, they respect you. Let's be honest here. This is where the world is going to. The world is going into blocks. It's not going into smaller nations because there is no economic advantage to that, right? But we have to respect the fact that there are challenges, and there are challenges that we all are going to work as one and solve. But at the same time, each and every one of us, while working towards that, each and every one of us have to be of the mindset to continue contributing our seed to nation building because it is our responsibility.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Gustav. Thank you. It is our seed. It is our responsibility. We all have to do our part, mindful of the underlying challenges, but those challenges will never define us. They should act as a foundation for us to spring forward for a more united and prosperous Cameroon. Thank you so much, Gustav. I'm going to move over. I have the honor.
Joy and pleasure.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And please, if you're still tuning in, we're live at the book launch, The Cameroon Dream by Reverend Roland Fru. I have listened to so much people talk today. By the end of this sermon, I will be one of the most informed because I was at the right place at the right time. And bringing on stage one of Africa's finest, Cameroon's finest. You know, Reverend Fru identified entertainment, media and entertainment as one of the key industries that would transform Cameroon in his Cameroon Sustainable Development Project agenda. And the media, as we know in Cameroon, has for a long time not provided the enabling environment for young talents to thrive, to take advantage of their intellectual property and be able to export what is it that they're best at to the outside world. But I know one person who has navigated through this corridor without any fear of favor to raise, to inspire, and provide what is it that is necessary for our young people for us to be able to export our country and our culture. I remember back during the World Cup in 2010 in South Africa, the issue with Shakira and the famous Zangalewa, he fought a single battle and was able to resolve that dispute in a mutually exclusive manner. Recently, he launched one of the most impossible campaigns that could ever be launched in Africa. The Vivian Project, 4 million views in 24 hours. Yes, but it is not about him. It is what he represents within the greater context of the Cameroon culture and how all of us can tap into this to make a better Cameroon. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure to introduce Mr. Wax Day, as they call him by his stage name. He needs no introduction. Mr. Wax, the mic is yours.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me, first of all?
Yes, very well.
Oh, perfect. Thanks so much. Thank you so much for this invitation, Reverend Roland Fru. Thank you so much. I've been really blessed to listen to some of the speakers that have come for me, CY in particular, Dr. Gustav Achuhu. Every time he speaks, I'm like, okay, I wish I had a pen so I can write down something to impress at least the ladies with next time we go out to dinner. But yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'm going to get straight to the point. Let me start by saying that, there is so much that we can all say about, about the Cameroon Dream, which is very aptly coined by Roland Fru. There's so much to say about it. But I'm just going to pick out of the ocean and just point out a couple of things that come to mind. I remember back in 2017, I was doing a consultancy for the African Development Bank, organizing their cultural activities for their annual summit in Ahmedabad in India. And I had to sit down with the chief of staff of the president of the bank then, as Dr. Sipo Moyo from Zimbabwe. And she called me Nde, and she said, Nde, you know what? At the bank, we always run interviews. And there's one country where every time we've had a candidate come from that country, the person has been exceptional. She's like, every Cameroonian that we've interviewed for a position at the AFDB has been perfectly bilingual, English and French, and knows their story. I need to know more about Cameroon.
Wow.
And of course, this is me, of course, organizing concerts, for the bank as a Cameroonian, and on the stage was Richard Bona. And, it was just an eye-opener looking from an artistic perspective, as Cameroonians there sitting and seeing how much Cameroon is appreciated across the board.
Wonderful.
Now, there's been some that's actually been holding us back in spite of that, because when you look at all the greats, Richard Bona in the in the musical field, look at Samuel Eto'o in sports field, Francis kind of why is that Cameroon never gets to, why don't we seem to achieve our full potential? And I think that there's always been a sense of disbelief among the people, a sense of an identity crisis of sorts. We're not actually understanding who we are and the power that we have. And you know, I come from a musical background where, you know, when urban music started in Cameroon, by then I was a jazz artist at the time. And I remember I was really the first Cameroonian artist to be played on MTV Bass and Trace and those, you know, and at the time, my colleagues were the Nigerians. And that's where my history really comes from, the Nigerians. Everyone around was Nigerian, you know, D'banj, Two-Face, you know. And we'll go out to shows and I'll be only Cameroonian. And I remember one day DJ Waxy, you know, at the time he was the biggest DJ in Africa. He's also Nigerian. He said, Wax, the embassy a handle. So I gave him something. It's like, because you always have to give something. And it's like, but let me tell you what. I'll tell you what, though. I like what you're doing. It's really good. But one thing I've noticed whenever I go out to do shows is that every artist that's come out to perform from every country, they've gotten support. But the Cameroonians never get the support of their public. Why? And I think that's a question that stuck with me. This was a long time ago. That's a question that stuck with me. That I think back in 2010, it stuck with me throughout my career. And I kept telling myself, what is it about Cameroon? Why is it that we never seem to move forward? We saw the new wave of urban music, you know, coming back like in 2014, 2015, 16, when Alpha Beta and the Salacias came up. And we saw the massive interest, global interest in Cameroon music at the time, when I think we're the 5th largest growing music industry in Africa. And Universal Music and them all rushed to come and say, we want to work, we want to sign. And then years later, they've all run out. They packed their bags and left. And it still begs the question, in spite of that massive talent, what is the issue? When we got, I worked with Open Mic with artists like Master KG when he got his big global hit Jerusalem, and we came to Cameroon several times. And one of those trips, I remember his boss sitting me. I'm like, I don't understand the amount of talent and that I see in this country. It's incredible that you don't have global superstars in your urban music scene. And I remember actually we used to take songs in Cameroon, would write down lyrics, translate them, and they'd take them to South Africa to do Amapiano songs. Just like the Nigerians would do Makossa and do what they're doing with it now. So this is just to let us know. The reason I'm saying all this is to give us a kind of a historical perspective to say that there is jurisprudence, there is solid basis to believe that Cameroon has something really special beyond what we see with the eye. And that we need to identify what it is that is not quite working and just tune it and fix it so that we can take our rightful place on the global scene. And I think that's where the inspiration of the Vivian project came from, for us, for me in particular. Yeah. Before then, I've been quite active, you know, just pushing artists. You know, when I got my first AFRIMA award, I went and called artists like, let's go to Nigeria, let's go this to South Africa. I'm introducing artists everywhere. I've been doing that. And it's my point saying, like, let's form a movement. I had a conversation with there's an artist called Bad Nova, whom a lot of people might have heard of, was a song called Hala Madrid, which is one of the biggest songs in the world right now. A young rapper. It's one of the biggest songs in the world right now, right? It's a young artist from Cameroon. From Cameroon, I think from Yaoundé, yes. His name is Bad Nova. Yes. And he's currently in Spain. Like the big stars are tweeting his song. It's trending in Nigeria, trending in Spain, trending in Mexico, everywhere. Hala Madrid. And we seem oblivious of the fact that we have this power in our hands every time it happens. So when I got introduced to the Vivian affair, I said, I think we need to pull back and tell Cameroonians that, look, we are capable of doing anything that Nigerians are doing. Once we believe that we're capable of doing it, we can do it. Because time over time, I've come to terms with the fact that we are doing so well. We have so much talent. We have so much potential. Why do we keep holding ourselves back? Because as you said, as Gustav said, you know, when the scientists came together, they said the will is what is lacking. And I think the will and disbelief in ourselves is what's really lacking in this particular instance. And so what happened? I said we're going to put our money where our mouth is. You know, when we released Vivian, and I don't think I've said this publicly before. Okay. As we sit, the very first thing I did was to call a few friends and like a few stars and said I wanted to do a remix of this song. I had a remix in South Africa, an Amapiano remix done. Okay. I had a remix with Yemi Alade done. Yes. Of the song. Okay. But then I told the team, I said, stop. Before moving with any of these releases, we're going to release a Cameroonian remix of the song. Everyone was against it. They're like, no, why? It doesn't make sense. No, Malox is this. No, this person is that. I'm like, yes, forget what Malox is, what it represents to you. Yep. We have a national image to protect here. And when are we going to show that we are able as a nation to do a great feat as Cameroonians in the music scene without relying on other countries, without leaning on De Bordeaux, without leaning on Yemi Alade? I said at the time to the team, Vivian is bigger than De Bordeaux Lekumfa. It is bigger than him. It is bigger than anything any artist want to put on, because by itself, it has moved across the continent. We have nothing to prove to anybody except ourselves. And that was the point behind saying that we're going to do 4 million views in 24 hours with a Cameroonian song with only Cameroonian artists. And when people ask, people actually said it's because Yemi collaboration has failed that we're doing it. I didn't respond to it because I didn't want it to become a discussion about international issues. I want it to be an issue about national solidarity and for the industry to understand that everything that is happening out there we can do by ourselves. The reason I know that is because 10 years ago, I was competing head to toe, toe to toe with Nigerian artists.
Yes.
And we didn't have any belief among ourselves. And I'm like, what if we could tell people to actually believe in it? And that was it. So if we saw, in actual fact, we did 4 million views in 24 hours, 3 million on Prince Emi's official channel, which was, by the way, a brand new YouTube. If you ever open a YouTube channel, you know what it means to get 1,000 subscribers. Yes, you know what it means to earn 1,000 subscribers. We earn 100,000 subscribers in one day. That is the force of mobilization. When you tell Cameroonians, we have an ideal to defend. We have a Cameroonian dream to defend. Now, as I said, we could go into 1,000 extrapolations of this issue, right? There are so many cases, geologically, socially, politically, economically, where we can talk about what is a Cameroonian dream and how can we make it work. But I'm going to use this one example to buttress the point. If, as a country, we could do what no Nigerian artist is able to do right now, what no South African artist is able to do right now, what no other, we could literally get up and do 2 million views in 6 hours on a Cameroonian song, which is not an exceptional song. It's a good song, but backed by people that actually have identified that this is our identity, this is who we are, and this is what we're going to, and this is how we're going to do it. We're going to put our hands together and do this. What then stops us from saying that we, in Cameroon, as the Cameroon people, are going to put our hands together and build a Cameroonian dream in every sphere of life?
How can it sell in Kenya? How can it sell in New York? So what plans do you have for that, Wax?
I'll tell you what, the very first, I'll answer in 2 tiers. The first tier of that is that the first point, there's something you call a case in point. The taste is in the pudding. We want to show that it works. The system works. We can do it.
Yes.
And as I said, I want to say, why can't we have a bestseller book in Cameroon every time? Why can't we normalize having bestsellers? Why can't we normalize, being champions? Why can't we normalize being commercial successes?
Yes.
Right? That's the very first point. And there are so many artists, first of all, out there. There are thousands of artists to create an international hit or to get those, because those are real views, these are real people watching. And anybody that looks outside, that goes now into the music video and sees 7 million views in 2 weeks, and however it's going to go, so that he can come up as well. Not to people might look at this as he's competing with Vivian, but I need the two to succeed so that we can have a movement on an international front and get the respect that we deserve.
A movement.
That was the discussion. That's the first. The second thing is that the one thing that pulled me to Vivian and where we played is that we don't tell enough of our stories as Cameroonians.
Yes.
Right? And this is the world is based on telling stories.
Yes.
There's a saying that unless the lion starts to tell the story, the story will always hear the version of the hunter.
Or the hunter, correct.
And what is the version of the hunter? Napoleon the Great.
Napoleon the Great,
J.F.
correct.
Kennedy.
Yes.
All of those. What about Shaka? What about Leopold Sedar Senghor? What about our own people?
Yeah.
We don't tell our own stories.
Yeah.
So when you look at Netflix today, you see all kinds of documentaries about rapists, murderers, killers, all of that. And it's adding something to the natural culture, But in Cameroon, we have solid stories that are more compelling than that we do not tell. Now, the next question is that if you find a blind guy that wrote a song 20 years ago, that released a song 20 years ago, he's been through hell and back, was abandoned in Europe, begged money at the train station to come back to Cameroon, got lost living in a ghetto in Cameroon, And 20 years later, as a blind person,
yes,
he overcomes and becomes a viral sensation in an African Afrobeats music continent where it has become so difficult to break through.
Yeah.
Who is going to tell that story to the world?
Correct.
That's our next challenge. It's a Netflix challenge. And we don't get there by screaming, right? We get there by it's step by step. The first step is, what do we do? As a country, we come together and say, we want to tell the world that this guy is important. How do you tell him it's important? 4 million of us are going to go look at this video the first day it's released. So that when the Americans look at the statistics, they'll say, oh, there's a story here. It's a building in progress. We're building something, right? But people need to understand that it's brick by brick that we're putting together. It's a big picture. And from where I'm standing, I can see a picture 10 years ahead that unfortunately others cannot see. And that's been the reason why quite often we fail to see the Cameroonian dream. If we can picture Cameroon 10 years from today as this land where we have abundance, because we've put in work, because we did what was right today, because I clicked where I was supposed to click today, because I didn't cheat that person I was supposed to cheat today, because I invested the $5 that 1,000 other people invested to make this dream a reality in a small area of Cameroon. You know, that's all it takes. So I don't want to scare people by saying that, oh, we want to move heaven and earth. No, we're not going to move heaven and earth. We're going to do something simple. Day by day, we're going to do what is right with the consciousness that we have a national identity to protect, and that we're able to get to the destination.
And one last question, Mr. Wax. So I believe that, you know, the Cameroon entertainment industry, or I would say, the government has not provided the enabling environment, you know, in terms of the systems and the institutions, you know, that can support the dreams, you know, of these young people. So do you think that, you know, in that domain, in terms of intellectual property, in terms of, you know, equity rights and all that, do you think in that domain we will see some, you know, some change within the coming years, and how could that change be measured?
I think that it's possible. You know, back in 2020, the president of the republic signed into act a new law regulating and structuring the arts and cultural sector, which basically fashioned the 26 cultural sectors into federations.
Okay.
Now I happen to be nominated by the minister to run the musical side of it. Okay. So basically, I'm charged with structuring the musical sector or the music federation. You want to put
wonderful.
That. Now the aim of that is to move the industry from a social endeavor to an enterprise.
Okay.
Yes. Now that said, as I said, we have several inhibitors that stand in our way, and principal among them is the understanding of the cadres in Cameroon about what it takes to get where we want to go.
Wonderful.
Right? So as long as we don't have the right people in those seats of the directors and the ministries of arts and culture, for example, we're always going to have blockages. There needs to be a system of education and a system of transformation where it's not just a vision of the minister Bidungpat saying that I'm bringing structure. Yes, now we have the laws, we have the structure, but then the people that are responsible for implementing those, that they truly understand that these are the needs of arts and cultural actors. At this point, I don't think that they have a sufficient understanding of it. And that's, as much as we want to be optimistic, that's a challenge that we face that we need to get over.
Okay.
Now the question is that, are we who have the capacity to do that? Are we going to flee, or are we going to make ourselves available to do the work? Okay. And if we make ourselves available, is the country going to give us the opportunity? And that's why at a certain stage, besides just selling the dream of the Cameroonian dream, besides talking, we need to get as aggressive sometimes as CY does to say we want what is our own.
Yes. Because no matter how we try to fashion it in the private sector, it's going to take collaboration with the public
with the private and public sector. Absolutely.
Yes. A public and private partnership is what's going to do. But I think that energy has to come from the base, and that base is the private sector. Because once we are able to exert that force and push it, I think the government, just like how they nominated you to oversee, the music side of that art decree that was signed by the president. I think that pressure has to come from within. And I'm seeing hope in that light, but the hope will be amplified, by the amount of pressure that we are able to exert, just by an example like this Vivian story. This story, I think,
absolutely.
This story, I think, is a story that should be written home. It's a story that should enter the annals of Cameroon history, and this story should be able to move policy and institutions that will be able to defend not just persons like Prince Aimé, but there are many other Prince Aimé's on the streets of Cameroon, so many that need help. And I'm happy, Wax, you're saying that let's not end it Vivian's story, right? If we cannot replicate that story, then we have not won.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
And it's there's something called the national heritage.
Good.
When I was going through the issue with Vivian, I spoke with Flash Music. I'm Jean Tamo, one of the biggest producers back then. We come to see that's coming to pass. That's actually, it's happy. We're right in the middle of it. The question is now, what enabling environment, as the government, as the private sector, and as the actors, are going to provide for ourselves to take advantage of that massive opportunity?
This fits right into the Cameroonian dream, because if we cannot lay actionable plans that are measurable, there's no way we'll be able to achieve that bigger dream within the entertainment industry inside the bigger Cameroonian context. And that's why I'm going to go back to Opancho. Just one little question there. Opancho, you with us? I'm going to go back to Opancho. Siwai, are you with us? Or is your audio good? And Wax, we're talking about entertainment here. I think we should bring it within a broader context in terms of art, right? And not just music. Yes. In terms of art, how can we encourage art? How can we encourage sculpture, right? There's a whole lot. Yeah, there's a whole lot within that realm.
Some cultural sectors in Cameroon, recognized in Cameroon. And this goes right down to traditional medicine, culinary arts, fashion and design, photography, graphic arts, literary arts. This it's wide. Dance, even communication arts.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so it's quite wide, and when you look at that, and that's why it's quite aptly picked up as one of the sectors in the book. When you look at the potential of all those 26 cultural and artistic sectors, and look at what can be gained by structuring them.
Good.
One of the things that we've always suffered from is acting in this organization, and I hope that this Vivian project will, I kind of serve as a lesson to the Cameroonian public about how we can mobilize ourselves.
Yes.
One of the things I did when I came into the project, first thing I did was that I said, contrary to what has been happening in the past, there will be no longer any remixes of the song that are not validated in writing.
In writing, correct.
By myself.
Okay.
Yes. And there was an uproar. No, we can't do that. That's how it got viral. People do that. I said, no, I don't care what you say. I need a written approval. And then what did I do? I went to the internet and I took down all the remixes that were not approved. People got mad and started screaming.
On YouTube?
Yes.
Okay.
YouTube, yes, I did. I tore down at least 50 remixes of the song.
Wow.
Then people started contacting from Ghana and said, okay, we want to approve our remix. I'm like, cool. We're going to give 80% of the publishing to Prince Aimé. We'll give 50% of the streaming rights. We signed that. Good. Now we're talking. Now in Cameroon,
right there. That is
in Cameroon,
right there. I will start to build.
In Cameroon now, Malox wants to do a remix. Okay. He's like, I'm going to do a remix. I say, well, you haven't signed, so it's not going to happen.
Oh, wow.
So he comes, where's the contract? All the artists came, signed the deal. Now we have Asiko remix wanted to sign, Bigutsi remix wanted to sign, Bentikin remix wanted to sign, the Bola remix was just released. And what's the beauty of this? In the past, because the artists were releasing these remixes clandestinely.
That's correct.
They were passing, as they say in French, inaperçu.
Okay.
So they'll go, I'll just do a remix and put it on a site there, and let's say you can't promote it because you don't want to call attention to it, right?
You don't want to call attention, yes.
So I put it down. I might say, now you have to sign. Now, when you sign and you have a document, yes,
in 3 days,
and a lot. Now I have at least 5 remixes come where people have signed deals, and they're actually selling the music on streaming platforms that are available for everybody. In the past, they couldn't do it because it was clandestine. It's open. Everybody's gaining, and now the song has become even more popular. People are now actually, I want to do a remix. I want to do a remix.
Yes,
and they've understood, and that's what structure brings to a place, to an industry.
Yes, that's what
structure does not inhibit.
Yes,
it does not inhibit. What it does is that it opens it up. It opens it's a symbiotic relationship where everyone benefits.
Everyone benefits.
And we should not be afraid of transparency and structure.
Like we say, we hope that the Vivian experience has a multiplier effect within other sectors of the economy as we strive to build this so-called Cameroon dream. Mr. Gustav, I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Gustav. I'm going to come back to you, Gustav. What do you think? Do you think the diaspora holds the knife when it comes to contributing to this new Cameroon we all aspire to? What can the diaspora do? What do you think is within the power of the diaspora within this new context? Wonderful. So, Gustav, I was going to ask you, we've been talking today so much about this so-called Cameroonian dream. You know, I'm taking from the Vivian story. How can this Vivian story has a multiplier effect within other sectors of the economy? But my question to you, Mr. Gustav, what is the role of the Cameroonian diaspora in building this new vision for Cameroon that we have?
Awesome. I think that's a brilliant question, and certainly thank you for having me again on the platform for this. You know, the way I look at the Cameroon diaspora, and this is not just from an emotional perspective, it's also backed by science and data. I've read a lot of books on different diasporas in the world, right?
Yes.
The way I look at the Cameroon diaspora, it's like the Green Beret in the US Army. They go out as the first layer
of
offense.
Good.
They clear the field and they bring back the booty home.
Yes.
When I look at even this nation where I live today, certainly the greatest nation on earth right now, there is a conglomeration of diasporas.
Oh, yes.
The difference is every diaspora community has their anchor where they came from.
Correct.
All the Jewish friends I've worked with, I went to school with, they go to Israel all the time. Some of them actually are in Israel now fighting in the Israeli army. They were in America, they were raised in America, but their identity, their mind, their heart, their spirit is in Israel. Same for Romanians, same for Germans, same for some French, same for Lebanese, name it. The difference, and I'm glad that you brought this question up, because that is where we, not only as Cameroonians, but as Africans, have to understand how this thing works. You see, we go to social events and people insult Africa, insult Cameroon as if they're going to win a prize for insulting our continent. And I laugh. I say, let me tell you guys something. The only place you ever get relevance in your life is in your country of birth.
Yes.
The only place you'll be respected.
Yes.
Yeah. But as a diaspora, we have a responsibility to make sure that we contribute to Cameroon. I'll give you a simple example. I don't have the statistics totally, right? But I know this is a fact. How many people live out of Cameroon who were trained in ENS?
Oh, yes.
How many people live out of Cameroon today who were trained in QS? 7 years of education, free, medical school. Yes. And here is the deal. With a medical degree from QS, you come to America, you just have to do some certifications and you're getting straight into practicing.
Very correct.
Back to med school. So it is
correct.
So what that really means, and this is a conversation I have with my classmates who are medical doctors in my generation. Yes. My class alone from CPC, Sacred Heart, Sase, all these schools, have at least 70 to 80 medical doctors in America. It's just an example. I'm not picking on that. And when we have conversation, I ask a simple question. I say, my brothers, about 50% about 40 to 50% of you went to school in QS.
Yes.
Free. And the idea behind the training was that you are going to pay back to the government by working and serving the people of that nation. Now, greener pastures, fine. You make a decision, you got to go. But you have a responsibility to pay back. What is your plan? It's not necessarily money. In capacity building, you go to Cameroon on vacation for 1 month a year. Can you just go to University of Boya, University of Douala, and do a visiting professorship just for 1 week and teach them on something? Maybe something. Just whatever it is. Imagine that we do that. In the year, how many people will be able to contribute as capacity builders?
Yes.
The second important thing, those of us living in the diaspora, we must learn to understand something. We are not going to help nobody in Cameroon or Africa. We are not going to help somebody survive. We are going to partner with our brothers and sisters.
Correct.
We're going to invest along with our brothers and sisters.
Correct.
The sometimes as diasporans, we tend to have arrogance. You see a medical doctor trained in Suka in Cameroon, a cardiologist, he's talking about the medications and processes that your parents have to have. A registered nurse in America is disputing with him.
Yes.
I don't know if I make sense.
Absolute sense, Gustav.
Yeah. But I'm saying as a diaspora, we have a responsibility. But that responsibility also includes humility. Yes. Humility meaning what? When I look at somebody like my brother Old Pancho, I look at Wax Day. These are guys who live in Cameroon on a permanent basis.
Yes.
Of course, we know our nation is not easy. It's difficult, but even in those difficulties, they still find the light and they still preach the gospel of the light of Cameroon.
Oh, yes.
So as a diaspora, we must come together and ask the same question I asked during my presentation. What is your seed? How can you leverage that seed to contribute in your own way to the building of our nation? The skill set is there. The knowledge is there. The qualifications are there. How can we impact our people and to build a life that we all are going to be proud of? Because let me tell you something, Franco, and everybody listening to me. At the end of the day, when it's all said and done, a human being will only regret one thing. Never about anything they might have lost, money, houses, no, none of that. It's the fact that they never were able to contribute to the advancement of their fellow man, and they were never able to have the courage to exploit their potential in life.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So I ask myself every day. I have a friend of mine, a classmate who graduated the #1 at that time in advanced level. Until today, his record in advanced level hasn't been beaten. We're having a conversation, and I told him, bro, if the dream of coming to America was to go to med school, become a medical doctor, marry, buy a house, buy a Mercedes, you achieved that already by the time you're 40. Look at the intellect God gave you. Who is going to do research to solve our medical problems? Who are those who are going to lead medical schools in Cameroon and train the next generation of gastroenterologists and cardiologists and all these people? You cannot just make it and sit you in Memphis, Tennessee, or wherever you are and just enjoy your life and be there and think you're going. At the end of the day, I can guarantee you, by the time you turn 60, the regret you have for not contributing with all the gift God gave you to your nation, it will be heavier than any enjoyment you've ever enjoyed thinking you are enjoying.
Yes. Wonderful, Gustav. That is
the contribution of the diaspora to our nation.
Wow. Wow, Gustav.
This day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Diaspora, and I also think for us in the diaspora, Gustav, I think it's time we start thinking of making that physical move back to the continent. That everybody cannot abandon Cameroon. Some people have to stay back home and be able to build what is it that we need to move forward. But again, CY, don't you think that the government also has a responsibility to nurture these young people as much as we try from the private sector? Should the government also have a responsibility to do its part, its own commitment to building these young people?
My brother, thank you very, very much. Of course. Like I tell you before, we have to come into a level where we put our conscious mind in front of us.
Yes.
Before we can build this nation. And we have to make it a deliberate act. The government definitely has to play its role. Of course, that's the government. What I'm just saying is that we cannot build this nation depending on the government only.
Wonderful.
This is why I am saying some of us, like this is Wax Day, this is me, we are right here. Not that we have not traveled out of the country before.
Wonderful.
We have gone to Europe or the America, UK, and we've tried.
Yeah.
But we decided to make it deliberate that we must be part of the people who will clean this land positively.
Wonderful.
That is why we our only support that we are asking from you, the diasporas, is to also consciously and deliberately support us without thinking that, oh no, this man are who and this man no be who. No, you people too should make it a deliberate act that I must be part of this particular program. I must be part of this. Like me now, for example, so many years I have been carrying on this particular fight, the fight against drug abuse.
Yes.
And violence in schools. I know you people, you are aware about youth going to school, choke themselves with knife and all those things about drugs, the way drugs is really turning our community into a different level. And let me be very honest with you people, on a normal, clear eyes and mind, you cannot take weapon and harm somebody. It's not possible.
Yes.
You must be under influence of something. Now, it is either a spiritual problem, or you are being influenced by drugs.
Yes.
Two things there is no doubt. So now I don't need, I see why. I have records, I have results since 2017 till now. It's so many years. I have results that I've been doing these things alone. Now, diasporas don't expect me to go down on my knees crawling because I need to carry on and continue this particular program. Let me be very honest with you. This is what you diaspora people don't understand, right? You are supposed to encourage us to clean this land, because why? You might come to this land to say you want to come and visit, and those small youths that you did not support us to rehabilitate them and come back to normal, they are the ones who just take joke and choke you with a knife because they want to get something from you, and you lose your life.
Yes.
So this is the reason why you diaspora people, you need to be committed in everything that has to build this land. Is it entertainment? Is it this one? Is it this one? Because I know that some of you that you have been there for all these years, you have the capability and you have the finance. So government has its part. Of course, government has to play the bigger role right here. Of course, we know they have to. It is they too, they have to make it deliberate. See, brother, let me be very honest with you. Like I used to say, it is not more than the government to build a super road from Mutengene to Yaoundé. It's not more than them. They can do it. It's not more than the private sector or government, business people to do it. But now it takes that conscience and the fear of God, and you do it deliberately, saying that, like what this our brother said, that I add. I used to say this: true leaders are not people who have got every education of every certificate of education, or rich, or too smart, or too wise. True leaders are people who consciously and deliberately plants a tree, knowing fully well that they will not sit and shelter themselves under that tree. Those are true leaders.
Wonderful, wonderful, CY. CY, wonderful. Your point is well taken. Diaspora be able to support you, CY, in your endeavors that you are doing. I hope if you amplify that, I think you need to make that more clear in your outings, on your videos, on your social media. You need to call for that support directly, and how people can support you directly. Because sometimes people may want to support you, CY, but they don't know how to do it. So you also have to make sure you drive that traffic and provide, that vehicle, that tool through which the diaspora can support you. And I'm sure if you do that, CY, I'm sure if you do that, you will see the support that is coming. So thank you so much, CY. I'm going to go to you as we close. 1 minute from Mr. Bertrand. As people who want to succeed, because I've heard complaints from back home that the young people that we try to empower them, some of them don't even want to empower themselves. Are you seeing that, or are you seeing a will from young people who are desperate, to make something for themselves?
I think there is no community where we have everyone that is good and where we have everyone that is bad.
Wonderful.
There are people in Cameroon who want to take advantage and just milk you, even if you are trying to help them. But there are those who are genuine, who actually really want to grow. And if you give them a seed, they will actually make it grow.
Wonderful.
And if I may say something, I think that the challenge that we have with the diasporans. Having been to America multiple times, having been to Europe and many countries, when I get the opportunity to speak with the diasporans, the way they talk about Cameroon is as if they never even, it's as if they were not born here. It's as if they have never been here. Now, they expect the Cameroonian who have lived in Cameroon for 20 years straight, 30 years straight, to think and reason like them. They have to rather understand that they have left Cameroon, they have improved their mind, improved their thinking. It is their duty to teach the Cameroonians, not to condemn them. Cameroon is so backward, Cameroon is so this. They make it a point of insult and mockery. And trust me, if I may say this, one of the worst clients we have as a company are those in America. Americans are notably rude, especially the Cameroonian Americans. Those who have been Americans just for 3 years or 4 years. They won't greet you, they won't respond, they won't honor your job. They think that they are high up there because they are living in another man's country. So I think the diasporans, in my opinion, they have a huge impact that they can play. But if they could stop looking down on the people, if they could stop trying to rather exploit the people or trying to think they are superior, the impact will be mind-blowing. And projects like the Cameroon Dream. Reverend Roland has been online for many years. He's been doing things for many years. I never knew he existed. I've heard about Wax Day, but I've never listened to him. Now, the impression I had about him Wax Day is like he's just some lousy guy. But he is talking here, only intelligence is coming out, only vision is coming out, only purpose is coming out. So we need platforms whereby people can know that these guys are not just talking. They're not just to go to party. They are intellectuals, they're intelligent, they have something that they can contribute. So we need a lot of sensitization because we have a mind problem in Cameroon. I say our biggest problem is not even the government, it's the state of the mind. The mind is so caged, it needs transformation. And that transformation cannot come if the diaspora does not intervene, if we don't sensitize, if we don't empower, if we don't teach. If I've solved the math and reached the answer, and I say, this is my work, just copy the answer. You don't start solving the whole work, trying to invent the whole thing. So there is a lot that we can achieve. And I just wish to say as my closing word that Reverend Roland, that dream is very possible. And it's not a dream that we will not see. We will see it. And please, let's work together. Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor to be here.
Thank you so much, Bertrand. The website CameroonDream.com is the official website for you to order the book. Please, admin, make sure you put that website on the stream so people can order that book. Again, want to thank our official sponsor, Nala Money Transfer, NALA Money Transfer. If you download their app today, you get a copy of the book, The Cameroon Dream, for free, and you get a $10 contribution. We need to be able to lower the cost of remittances so we can increase consumer spending, which will indirectly increase our GDP and provide the necessary financing that we need for public sector investment, like schools, like healthcare, like libraries and all that. Mr. Wax, I'm going to come back to you. This I've seen for the past 6-7 years, there's been a surge in terms of the talent pool in the entertainment industry. 80% of that pool has come from English Cameroon. We can now say, without mixing words, that English Cameroon provides a much lucrative base when it comes to music in Cameroon. Now, my question to you as an expert in that domain, how can we leverage from this talent pool to actually transform that into economic value that could also be markedly exported?
About the talent pool from English Cameroons, it's always been there. I think we're just starting to realize it, Yes. Now, the challenge still, I think, is a bigger challenge of identity. Which I talked about before.
Yes.
In two ways. The first is our lack of understanding of who we are as English Cameroonians and our strength, right? Which means, for example, Francophones have a handful of stars, but then they are so united when they do something that it always looks like it's blown out of proportion. Now we have in our English culture we have stars, but we don't yet know our force de frappe, as they would say.
Okay.
So we tend to look down on each other. We tend to see ourselves as not being good enough. As Kuta would say, we don't yet know that we are enough as Anglophone artists. And that's the reason why I would say that I talked about 2014, 2015, when there was a surge of Anglophone artists and then everything went flat. Now we're seeing the talent, but there seems to confusion.
Yes.
We need to get back to a space where as Anglophone artists we understand that our talent is enough, our capacity enough, our identity enough, and then now we need to go beyond our ethnic and cultural lines.
Okay.
To think of ourselves as just talented musicians. What does it mean to be talented musician? It means that we have the capacity to break into Nigeria. We have the capacity to break into French Africa. We have to exploit the entirety of our talents to sell to the world who we truly are. As I wax day, one of my biggest selling points in the international milieu, and I have romanced the international milieu for the longest period of time.
For a long time, yes.
Is that I am bilingual.
Yeah. Okay.
I come from bilingual background.
Wonderful.
That has opened so many doors for me that are just unimaginable. Okay. And I can be Nigerian, I can be Francophone,
you could be American, you could be American.
My music my music has a bit of Makossa sometimes. It has a bit of Njang. It has a bit of this. There is so much beauty in who we are, but we must embrace ourselves and understand that we are strong. Because we don't believe. I once told Daphne a story when she just kicked off, and I told her, Daphne, I was with Yemi Alade when her career kicked off.
Yes.
Today, Yemi Alade is a Grammy nominee. But with the point Yemi Alade kicked off, she had one person behind her who did not have money, who didn't even have a house. Tai Aliyu. And what Tai used to tell me is that what people lack is belief.
Yes.
We believe. We believe. That's all he ever told me. We believe. When you believe, not only do you attract the positive energy that you need to conquer, but also it gives you the courage, in spite of all the challenges that you face, to keep moving.
Yes.
It makes you blind to distractions and focus on your goal.
Wow.
The simple belief that we as Anglophones do not have. Why? Because when you grow up, you say, I'm going to be a musician. Oh, they want to be a musician. How can failure that?
Good. Thank you. Yes.
As somebody was saying that they used to tell us when we were young that gamers are useless people. Put that video games are useless people, and now gamers are millionaires.
Yes.
Who are we to determine what the cost of the world is? Today we know that our Njang music is a powerful rhythm, that it can be as powerful as Amapiano.
Oh, yes.
We just don't believe enough in it to put it out there and put our foot down and say, this is who we are, you're going to accept us. We used to say that Nigerian accent was funny. Today you go to Britain and British people are trying to speak like Nigerians. Why? Because they believed.
They believe.
So as Anglophone artists, we need to believe in who we truly are. And believing means that we're not only confident in ourselves, but then we stop ourselves from bringing down the people that are doing what we think.
Wow.
It's not strong enough because it's from us. We need to believe in others and push them forward.
Wow. Reverend Fru, I think we need to do conversation like this more often, because what I've witnessed here today really is what the nurturing, I will call it the mentorship that our young people in Cameroon need has been the discourse for today. So Roland, you have not just launched a book. What you have done, you have launched minds that will forever be able to inspire and transform. And this conversation cannot be a one time. We should continue having this conversation within different sectors, and so we can continue to inspire and see how we can build this Cameroon dream. I thank you, Wax, thank you so much. OIC Pancho, thank you so much. Bertrand, thank you so much. Gustav, my coach, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful experience. I'm gonna bring Reverend Fru back so I can give him the last question, and we do the closing, and so we could all have a beautiful day. Reverend Fru, are you with us, please?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear
me? Wonderful. And thank you, Reverend Fru, for giving me this opportunity to be able to talk with these fine minds, this breadth of leaders. I'm so opportune to have been the MC for this event. So as we close, Reverend Fru, now The phase one, we have talked about the book. The book has been launched. Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody can read the book. Everybody can have the book now. Read it. Nala, thanks to our official sponsor, Nala Money Transfer, who is even putting the books in the hands of our readers for free. Right. But the next question now, what beyond the book? After this book, what comes, Roland Fru? Thank you.
Yes. So basically, I love a lot of what has been said today. So I just want to start by thanking all the speakers that showed up today. Really appreciate their presence. Without you guys, this event would not be possible. And I just want to thank, I'm starting with Wax Day. Really appreciate maybe just hearing how you guys think on a certain subject. That is fascinating to me. CY, I appreciate the way you expand. You make something too complex look simple that the average man can understand. And that is really fascinating. I want to thank our motivational speaker. I think Mr. Gustavo Achu was a powerhouse. I just want to appreciate your presence and the impact that you brought to this event. I want to thank Bertrand. Bertrand is I know Bertrand is the man. He's out there putting in the work in the trenches, trying to make sure that he lifts up people, and his heart for the country. And Josh Pelayo and Jesus and Joy Batista. I know this was a lineup, and this is just the beginning of something great. So the question that you asked regarding the next step, there is a lot, right? I think faster than I speak, so sometimes I'm having a lot going on in my mind as I'm speaking. So they're like hitting all together. So Bertrand said something very important. I think we've had the time to be together. When there is a step, because I've heard many intellectuals in the country, smart people like Professor Julius Ngor, the very first time we sat down together for like 4 hours talking, and he could explain that history. And I was able to see that history in a way that I can take something out of it and then see the future. So I'm gifted with not just looking at the problem, but how we can transcend that problem into opportunities and the future. So the next step for this project, like I said, let a minimum of 5 million copies of this book reach the hands of Cameroonians. The next step of this project, we are estimating approximately $14 million. And like I said, Cameroonians, we will serve you. You will contribute to build your country. We will help businesses to grow and scale online. We will put out maybe those entrepreneurs that are not seen so that they can be visible on the social media platform. So everything that we are doing here, technology is number one for our industries. And so we believe that nothing happens today without technology. So the next phase for this project is a $40 million plan. And this money will be used to be able to have people go to schools and talk about this vision, print T-shirts for young people to spread this vision, help young people who don't have computers to plug into Nation Builders University. My number one is you grab this book, the next thing you get into Nation Builders University. I've seen the power of what this has done. And Nation Builders University is not just an average school, it's a mind gym where we've looked at what America and other developed nations did to get where they are today. Because the tendency is to look at what America has today and say, okay, we just want to take what they have and put it back home. We can take the house and take the money, but we will not take the development, the spirit and the technology, the mind that created what we see here. So this university is to help us. And that is why you see China is freaking out today. And I know that in our community, this is not something popular. It's like China made it out of the blue. Yeah, I get it. But China copied America, everything that they do. And their 20 years plan is to copy everything America has done right up to now. So I'm following up with that. So this is a book. I mean, everyone who's watching, you can read that. 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. The people who changed the world. So anyone that comes out of that PayPal team, if you heard about PayPal and Elon Musk, Peter Thiel and the rest, the guy who has LinkedIn, all of these guys if they put their hands on something, it works. I was just sharing that with a friend, and these are some people that inspire me. And the reason why I'm saying this is to say we just have to look at what has worked. There is no argument. Let's just take it and pluck it and make sure that we have food, we have a place to live, and then we can innovate. It's not just globalization, it's also innovation. So our technological innovation. So that is our basic strategy. So it is globalization and technological innovation. Those two are symbiotic. They work together. So this is the strategy to execute this project. When you have a plan, you're not worried. It's not just talk. Like you hear people talk, but I will understand how to take that talk, put some graphs, put some yield curves, and see how we can make progress. So that is how we're going to do this. When we lay a solid foundation, in the next 5 years, we'll start yielding progress. The second phase of this project, this sensitization, if people might say, oh, it's just the T-shirt, but we know what it means. And we know what will be entering the minds of the people in that process of sensitization. If you're a teacher in the country, you're a lawyer, you're an accountant, whatever skill you have, reach out. We would like to have you on board. Just like this energy we have here today, we cannot do this alone. The second phase of this project is going to cost just like how Elon Musk can take the price of maybe what it would take to send maybe a rocket to the moon, and he's able to slash that price into two. And that is the kind of energy that I'm bringing even into this project, to see that we minimize costs and do more with little. And that is the energy. So the second phase, we will need a research lab in the country, one of the biggest research lab. And we've looked at what India did in 1960, and today is yielding fruits. So we are going to establish a research lab for research and development. That alone is going to help every young person in the country or older person who's looking at scaling to be able to benefit from these 7 industries that we have carefully selected. So that research and development center and a bank where when people are trained from our university, we know what they can do. We can be able to loan them money at a small interest rate compared to the national average, so that they can go out there, start a business, and then when they make profit or when their loan is due, they can be able to pay back that money so that we can continue that cycle. So this is how this developmental project is going to look like. So this is a synopsis. So we are going one step at a time. So right now is sensitization. Let the books get out there. We will start going around the country, organizing this event, and make America to start with, and make sure that this message sinks in our heart. I believe in those in the diaspora as well, and some of our partners who are Americans and other from other countries, that they really want to see our country get better as well. All my friends and partners I've talked to, they want to see our nation transform. And
wonderful.
We've opened this conversation, and it's an ongoing conversation. Now, what is left is, again, I'm an Anglophone, I know, but I'm a Cameroonian first, and then an Anglophone second. I want to make that clear. This project is for Cameroonians who speak French and speak English. And the book is written in both French and English. Our goal is to make sure that the nation moves together as one and thrive.
Yes,
that is the overall perspective.
Wonderful. So, the Cameroon Dream, Le Rêve Camerounais. Le Rêve Camerounais. So that's wonderful.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
For this part 1, part 2, we'll begin to translate and get more, adding more ingredient into that vision. I think today we have a panel of speakers, but the talk will not take us anywhere if we do not actually match that talk with action that can be measured over time with systematic progress. Yes. And it's just been a wonderful day. We've been here since 11 o'clock. It's 4 now. So, Reverend Fru, your last word before we close for the day. I just want to thank all the Cameroon and Friends of Cameroon have spoken today, and we appreciate them, and we know that more partnership is going to come to support this dream. Go ahead, Roland.
Yeah, we cannot do this alone, and just let our people know Some people might say I've become too Americanized, but my thinking has transcended colors. And what is important to me is the liberation of our people. That is what really matters with me. When Deng Xiaoping, that you cited, came to the United States of America, I think he came here in Texas, and he went back to his people. China was pretty much a communistic nation, still a communistic nation, but he went back to his people and said something so profound. He said it doesn't matter whether the cat is black or white, as long as it can catch a mice. He said it is a good cat. And I say that to say we are at that stage with the bleeding on our land, the suffering that our people are going through. Whatever works to take us out of this condition, let's have an open mind to embrace something new. Josh Pelayo is here today because I had an open mind to somebody that met me and said, bro, I like you, man. I just like your energy. And we became friends. And he didn't know who I was. I didn't know who he was. And today, through that connection, I got to meet Josh Pelayo. Who knows, before the end of Trump's reign, before the reign of Donald Trump, he might step foot even in our country. And those are the kind of ambitions that we have for this vision. So I think I just want to thank everybody. This is the beginning of the conversation. We'll see where it takes us. What they are waiting for, or the world is waiting for, like what Wax Day said, that, okay, if you want to represent the Cameroon identity, let 4 million of us go watch that video. And what I say to all of us today, let 4 million of us go out there and grab that book, share something about this vision out there, and let Cameroonians know change is coming to our nation, and we are the ones we have been waiting for. Thank you, Mr. Franco, and thank you to all our partners, sponsors, friends, and speakers. It was really a great day, and I really appreciate it. And thank you, Mr. Franco. You're an incredible MC. You did an amazing job. I just sat there and enjoyed you time again and again. I'm like, you know how to engage people. Not only that, you've sacrificed your time. Just to say this, I know for those who are joining us, maybe just listening to what we are saying here, Mr. Franco has a big heart. When we were putting this event together, they told me that if there's one person that will be here is Mr. Franco. They said, yeah. The guy said, okay, I know that we are talking. He said, Mr. Franco. I said, okay, I'm going to reach out to Mr. Franco. So, Mr. Franco, I really want to appreciate you. And I remember the night we came, we were trying to have this set up together. Mr. Franco took me to a computer store that night, and he was able to take more than $1,000 to buy a brand new computer just to make sure that this event works. And I said, this is what Cameroon needs. I left that day, Mr. Franco, I didn't say this to you, but when I was leaving that night, it was about 12 midnight. I left your place, about an hour drive back home. Tears was coming down my eyes. And I called my wife and I told her about that. I said, just this night, just for this event. So thank you so much, sir. I know that with this energy, there is no way we will continue to suffer again. Change is coming to our country. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. It's the launch of the Cameroon Dream by Reverend Roland Fru in French and English. Get your copy at the CameroonDream.com. Get a copy from Amazon. Download the NALA, N-A-L-A, money transfer app and get the free book. It's been a wonderful event, a wonderful panelists. I think from now, we'll move on knowing that we have said what is supposed to be said, but now let's move on to do what we are supposed to do. So thanks again, Mr. Bertrand. Thanks again, Mr. Gustav. It's been a wonderful, 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 wonderful one. And I know that I'll catch you guys in some other platform because these stories, they never go around. We spin around and we come back to the same thing and we're speaking about something else, but it's all about how we pave the way forward. It's been a wonderful day, Monday, November 25th, 2024. I've been your humble host on this book launch, Franco Bongan. May God continue to bless you all and thank you. Bye-bye.